The R.A.D. podcast is intended for a mature audience. Listener discretion is advised.
Starting recording, so now it is recording, so there we go. So yeah, this is preamble to this, so we can just go from here, sort of thing. So, because last time I didn't tell you.
You just started, I was like, what? I've been recording for the last 20 minutes. You fucking what?
But it worked out well, so. But yeah, we'll do this shit as we already do, so.
Right. Would I be able to take sort of like first spot on like the opening segment?
Oh, go for it now. It was recording. Go for it. Anyway, yes. Where's we'll fucking start it? Why not? Yes, you are listening to R.A.D. The R.A.D. podcast for back from the dead, wherever we've been. We're back. Yay! I am your host, captain of the ship, whatever you want to call me. Allegedly, sexy, definitely stupid. It's Paul Flinders, followed by the man who likes to stow away.
Oh.
It's Lewis Ogden.
Hello there. Hello. Yes, it's me.
It's weird.
Away.
You can't make him sound more like an illegal immigrant.
There's a reason why I have sort of like an intro, just sort of like being able to stow away more times than illegal immigrants trying to get from Calais to Dover.
This is it. We know the backstory to this. So.
Oh, yeah.
Go listen to the library of other podcasts in our sort of like stable, and you'll understand that. But also yes, we also have a very shiny man here. His name is he's not very dark, but he's Anthony Dark.
Yeah,
is that Anthony?
Blackpool is back.
Is that Anthony? I couldn't tell with the light bouncing off his head.
I was going to say.
All right, fucking hell, we're about 1 minute in. I've been rinsed already. Shit.
The man with an upside down head.
I've grown this beard out, and that joke is becoming. Well, I used to use it on Tim Howard. God bless him. I'm slowly realising I can use it on myself now, which is brilliant. Absolute barrels of laughs every time I look in the fucking mirror.
Yeah, it's a very impressive beard. I will give you that.
Thank you very much.
Speaking of impressive beards, we have a debutante, shall we say, on the R.A.D. podcast. He has been on this network before. You may know him as Rogar MacLeod, the Paladin Sorcerer. But right here, it's James Bunkle.
How we doing?
Billy the Boy Bunkle, even. To give him his actual name.
Yes.
Making his debut tonight. We know very little about this man. He's had copious amounts of experience on other significant podcasts, but he's made it to the big time, so he's got big shoes to fill.
Yes, I am here. James D. Bunkle is here to put the world to rights and to slate, well, almost everybody.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
God,
James
you
D.
couldn't have sounded more
Bunkhead.
menacing if you tried. Jesus, where?
It's what you got to do to survive on the mean streets of Blackpool, even though they're empty at the minute, but there you go.
Except for the hookers. They're still open.
They are.
How? I do not know.
They are open in many ways, more than
you
one.
You obviously know for a reason, because you're the one that's just brought it up.
Well, you go. I go down these streets rather frequently.
Blackpool bird watching. That's what it is. Blackpool bird watching.
But how they haven't been closed down by any policeman who's walking by, I do not know.
Oh, probably closed down. The fact that the risk of murder, God knows what else, drugs, everything else. I doubt a bloody pandemic's going to do it for him. Do you really think, mate? Hellfire. It's not like they're unionised.
I mean, the last thing they've got to worry about is a little cough. Let's just put it that way.
Especially if it's coming from the mouth.
No, I just happened to be going past, and I was just thinking to myself, like, how is a police officer not just gone, right, £2,000 fine, £2,000 fine, £2,000 fine, and it's just like,
He probably got it in the handbags and he can just put it handy it up.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll just turn it back in the next half hour.
They're probably just sort of like, yeah, 200 quid under, and we'll say no more about it.
well, yeah.
I'll give you it free, beat it, blind eye. Guaranteed. It's a proper Blackpool, that for you. Come on.
Yeah.
For Blackpool.
Welcome to Blackpool.
Absolutely. Well, don't come to Blackpool yet.
No,
Not yet.
No, never come to Blackpool, because knowing your luck, they'll probably come with the fucking whatever the big fucking festival is, where all the dickheads and scumbags of the world come to your shores.
The season.
The farm,
Yes.
The whole season.
Farmers Weekend, or whatever it's called.
The what, then?
When the farmers show up,
Oh, yeah, they're banned.
weekend or whatever it is, and they like steal people's cars and all kinds of shit.
Yes. If we all do we remember my epic rant on the Farmers Weekend?
We
Yes.
Yes, that was stuff of legend. That I think I went into like a 20-minute tirade. It was
That we
amazing.
go after farmers really sums it up, really. I mean,
Oh no,
we're a shit-
no, young farmers. Young
that's
farmers. They're fair game. We're hard-working farmers that put food on our tables, absolutely fine. But when you come to our town and think, I know what I'll do. I'll not rob the keys out of somebody's car and chuck them down the road because it's funny. Yeah, fair game. Go fuck yourself.
Basically, Blackpool's a shit Amsterdam. That should be the slogan. That should be the slogan. You are now entering Blackpool, shit Amsterdam.
I wouldn't say that. I would say it's an Amsterdam that's smeared in shit. I'm brutally honest with you.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah, we are back. It's been a while. I've missed doing this, if I'm brutally honest with you. It's just, it's with what's been going on in the world. It's hard. It's hard to find motivation sometimes to do these things. And I've been doing this. Like I say, we're doing Phoenix Pod for since lockdown began. Really, when you think
Since
about it,
like just before the very first one.
Yeah, I mean, it was just me and Adam to begin with, and it was sort of like literally the day the show got released and the day after Boris gave us a rollicking and locked us down. So,
Oh, he can fuck off.
Dune.
And that's the politics covered on this episode. But
I'm
But
from
yeah.
Derry. Don't talk to me about politics. Basically, our politics is you've got a petrol bomb, I've got a petrol bomb. Let's fucking have it. That's politics in Derry.
there you go. We're covered in Ireland as well now. There you go. But yeah. Yeah, it's been a while, and I think we need to kick it off with some sort of topic. And I think, the person who can kick this off is the man who the man who asked first. I think it's Lewis Ogden.
It is indeed. The only reason that I took sort of like precedent of having first segment is because, god damn it, I'm in need of a drink. And there's like weeks ago, like maybe a month or like 6 weeks ago.
I would say 6 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago, there was a particular promotion that Brewdog were. There you go. There it is. There's a particular promotion that Brewdog were doing. Just basically giving you a free 4-pack of lager.
Cough, pay for postage, cough.
Yeah. Well, even then, the postage is only like £2 for,
This is it. I mean, I was naughty and ordered it in 2 names and got 2 packs. But
two different addresses.
2 different addresses, but I got them. Actually, no, tell a lie. No, it was at the same address. They just didn't check. So what you could have done is just done multiple emails.
Oh, I wish I'd have known that.
And I didn't realise it until I'd done it. And then I don't know if I told you or not, but I must have done. You could have literally got like.
No, because nobody else did that.
Yeah, I know. Nice of you to tell us that, Paul.
I apologise.
Mine hasn't even arrived.
You cannot.
Oh, you still waiting for yours, Buncle?
I am still waiting for mine.
Oh no.
See, I wasn't expecting mine until Monday, and they actually dropped it off on Sunday. So,
I think I was the first person to get all of their order, wasn't I? I think, or maybe Alan, possibly beat us to it.
Possibly. But yeah, the reason I want to take precedent over it is because there's a new drink that I've not tried. I'm gagging for a drink. It's been a while since we've done one. A taste test here on R.A.D.
Absolutely, a classic R.A.D. podcast taste test. And I've got a sneaky feeling. This is actually going to be a pleasant one, which is unheard of on this podcast.
That is a glass. That is a glass.
Nice little Secret Santa gift from one of my work colleagues. Nice.
It's a cracker. It's my match day glass. That.
I see. I'm just doing it the old-fashioned Blackpool way, just supping it straight out the tinny. But I could get a glass, but fuck it.
Undignified.
With the dark side stout here and there.
You have your own stout, don't you, sir?
I brew my own beer now. Yes. Realising how much money it's going to fucking save me in the long run, I decided to brew my own shit.
Now, I seem to remember asking you, Paul, if this was closer to a beer or an IPA, and you said this was sort of like closer to an IPA.
It's sort of like slap bang in the middle. The spoiler alert, I've already drank some of this, and I had a couple of cans, and I'll save my opinion till Lewis has tried his, but I've got a can here.
The only reason I was asking that is because for the most part, bar like one or two here and there, I absolutely fucking detest IPAs. I just think whoever came up with IPAs is just sort of like, man, I like beers and I like the taste of cocktails. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a beer that tastes like a cocktail but isn't actually a cocktail, and thus the term IPA was fucking introduced.
Psychopaths.
Yeah,
psychopaths is what I'll call them.
What's wrong with just sort of like yeasty hop? Well, not even hoppy beer, because too many hops spoils it for me.
I agree.
What's the matter with good old fashioned lager? So, I mean, there's a fair amount of bubbles coming up from it.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice and carbonated. It smells like a beer, essentially. A lager.
It smells like, because there's a particular like craft beer place in the middle of like Southport Town Centre called Tap and Bottles, and like I've not been in there for years and years and years because it's not really my place. But there's like a particular, like, I think it's like German or Polish beer called like Pilsner or Pils or something.
Yes.
Pils for short.
Pilsner, yeah.
And I remember always really liking that because it was basically like a lager with like a teeny tiny little bit of a hoppy aftertaste to it, but wasn't like overpowering. So this is what I'm hoping.
All I'm going to say is I think you're going to be partying.
Fandabidosi, because I've got another 3 cans.
There you go.
Okay.
So I'll give it a go. Yep. Well, just to say a bit of detail before we do try. It says it is actually sort of like a sustainable beer. So for every 4-pack that you buy, we plant a tree, and it's made from leftover fresh bread. They add their own little bit of yeast to it, but they don't use as much yeast because they're using the bread to go with it. And it's only powered by wind turbines. So the machinery that they use is only sort of like powered by Brewdog wind turbines on their own like sort of site.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah.
So it's carbon neutral and it's getting rid of waste. So you're saving the earth by getting drunk. I love it.
Bizarre. As you started giving your description, I just had like my mouth around the glass and just sort of like paused. I look like the end credits of sort of like Police Squad or like in The Naked Gun. Sort of like that. Everybody else is moving around in the background, but I'm just sort of like stood still like that.
I think we've delayed it too long for you now, Lewis. I think the anticipation sort of building.
For a big swig.
Go for a big swig and enjoy. I know I will.
Look a nice drop, I must say.
That's not bad, that.
Told you. Pretty nice. I was expecting some weird taste. Oh, they've used bread in it. So I thought, well, I don't know why I was expecting a weird taste, but I was. But it's really pleasant.
There is a bit of heavy. You can tell they've added a little bit more yeast into it because there's a bit of a sort of like a heaviness to it.
Yeah.
And then obviously you've got sort of like the aftertaste to it as well. But that's not too bad. That.
Yeah, it's not too heavy. It's very drinkable, isn't it? So it's not sort of one of them like piss weak ones where you can just sup it like pop. But it's
it reminds me of a excuse me. There's a particular sort of like Brewdog that they have on tap that sort of like has like it's like a baby blue like label to it. Tastes similar to that actually.
I mean, I remember having a Brewdog lager many years ago. And it was at that horrible place called Weatherspoons. And
cheap though.
Oh, it was cheap. It was $1.50 a pint. And I was supping away at it. And it was called This Is Lager. And it was quite nice. And it reminds me a little bit of that. It's a bit more hoppy than that, but it's nice. Yeah. I mean, the one I was drinking, I don't know if it was because it was fucking watered down or not. I don't know. But it drank more like pop. It was nice. But... Like I say, I could get behind that. And not only that...
It's punk IPA. That's what it sort of tastes like.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it sort of tastes like.
Punk IPA. So the only IPA you'll probably like is punk IPA.
Yeah. And even then, it's probably only sort of like a pint here or there. I couldn't do a day or a night drinking session on it because I'd be legless. I'd be out the pub within half an hour.
It's the same with this with me. It's nice. I could probably do a couple of cans of it, but after a while, I think it'd get a bit heavy.
Yeah.
So I'd have to go on something a bit lighter, maybe Carlsberg or something like that.
Carlsberg? Rob,
yeah.
Drink my own piss.
I don't mind Carlsberg because it's cheap. So
you can get cheap. You can get better tasting lager for probably a tiny bit more. Freaking hellfire! I'd rather pay like an extra couple of pence and get like a proper fucking beer.
Don't say Carling.
Carlsberg.
Oh.
Only if it's on tap. I don't mind Carling, but mind you, I don't mind Foster's either. So maybe I'm maybe I'm a bit of an animal.
I mean, I drink. I like having stuff like Coors and things like that. They're my sort of go-to drinks because they're a bit lighter. But that's me. If I'm trying to have a whole nightly sesh sort of thing on lager and stuff, it's usually something like Coors or something like that. So.
No, but yeah, that is a great big massive gorilla thumbs up for me.
I'll give that a thumbs up as well. I know Adam had a taste of it as well, and he said it was very nice as well. So that's 3 thumbs up. So,
Bunkle, as soon as delivery comes for you, mate, it'll be your turn.
Yeah, if it ever arrives.
Oh, it will. If not, complain. I want my free beer.
I want my delivery fee back.
Yeah.
I want my £1.99. No.
Don't you know who I am? They don't call me the delivery man for nothing.
See, I know all about deliveries, me.
Yeah.
You'll package pile drive you.
Well, I don't know. Oh, man, it's a bit,
Keep it old school.
Keep it for the pay-per-views.
Standard pile driver will do.
Yeah, why do you have to mess with the pile driver? At the end of the day, if you're going to do a pile driver, that should be the finish.
Oh, for fuck's sake, come on. Jesus wept.
And once per show as well.
Elsa driver!
Oh, God, you got talking about stupid, crazy moves. What about the one that we saw earlier today?
I was about to say, what about the one that you've got as your background?
Oh, that one. Yes, a little bit to say. Obviously, we're doing this on webcam, recording it and what have you. And if you listen to the Phoenix pod, I like to have a bit of fun with my backgrounds. Tonight's little background is a certain wrestler called nia-jax, who was on the receiving end of a certain move or counter or whatever it was. I didn't watch it close enough. And she seems to land sort of tailbone first on the hardest part of the ring, he says in air quotations. And
no, she just sat down on the ring because, let's be honest, she can't actually jump. She can't.
She can't. She's right. She can't.
Jeez.
Well, the thing is, though, she can't wrestle either. So it's one of them.
I tell you what, she can do. She can throw a hell of a punch.
Oh yeah. That's not wrestling, though, is it? Let's be honest. But yeah, she kind of landed backside first on the edge of the apron and sat down, whatever you want to call it. And she kind of waddled away, can only describe it as, and started shouting and screaming, "My hole."
Which is up there in the annals of time to go along with Bubba Ray Dudley's "My Balls," and I believe Rebel in TNA saying "My Vag."
Oh, yeah,
so
yes, she did.
About that.
The triple threat there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we have our triple threat tag team for the whatever it is, trios belt, whatever it was, somewhere, or whatever that stupid belt that fucking Willie Seagull had, which was a British three-way tag team thing, and which disappeared.
Expect them all to be members of Retribution by the end of the month.
Absolutely.
You get like those.
Oh God! But yeah, but we have this lady screaming it. It was a speech bubble, basically over my head. It looks like, I'm looking at the camera now. It looks like nia-jax is trying to eat my head.
Basically, for non-wrestling fans, what essentially you've got is a woman behind you trying to eat your head, shouting "My hole."
Either that or she's waiting for something, given the way that her mouth is positioned.
To be fair, I wouldn't argue if she was waiting for mine, but
they are some nostrils on her, aren't they? Jesus Christ!
Fucking hell,
Just another hole to try and fit it in, and that's all that is.
Drive under things like that under the River Mersey, don't they? Hellfire! Yeah. Do you have to pay a toll to pick a nose?
Depends if you're going under the bridge, or depends if you're going under in the tunnel under the river.
Trust me, I'm not going under that fucking bridge.
Oh my God!
I was going to say, I always associate nia-jax with, the shifty-eyed looking dog from The Simpsons.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
No! Oh, because of the old intro that she had, right?
Wait, focus on the face.
Have you not seen that meme where just interchange?
No!
Oh my God, it's amazing.
I believe it was the good fine folks at OSW Review that referenced, may have popularised that meme. And then somebody's obviously sort of taken it and just run to the hills with it.
The episode with Mel Gibson in asking.
Yep.
I may have to start listening to old school review.
Oh, they're on YouTube.
I'll get it going. If they're on Spotify, it's even brilliant because I can. What I tend to do, especially I tend to mention to the GTMP lot a lot, is I do a lot of endurance racing on the Xbox. And I like sticking a podcast on. A nice long podcast is even better. So I'll be, hopefully if they're on Spotify, I'll give them a go and do it that way. There was a spot before. It's probably going to boil Bunkle's pee a little bit, shall we say?
Before we move on to that, after this happened to nia-jax, Lana then apparently is strong enough to throw her through a barricade. I'm sorry. We do not watch wrestling to watch the women wrestle. We do not.
Bloody hell.
We don't need the women to be doing spots like that, because then when the men do it, it means nothing. Stupid.
Colin Farrell, calm down. Fucking hell.
I was about to say, freaking hell, Bunkle's evolved from fucking Jim Cornette into Hardcore Holly. Sort of going, women don't pay, fans don't pay to see women wrestle. They pay for tits and asses.
And your point?
I'm going to
segue off into something really fucking different soon.
I'd argue that sort of it can be done properly if the women can actually wrestle. when in actuality, the two women involved cannot wrestle.
Yeah.
True. But you ever notice the greatest comment, the greatest, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not a comment. The greatest
Saying?
Yeah, well, the compliment, that's what I'm looking for, that you can pay to a woman, she sells like a guy.
Oh, to nia-jax, you mean?
No, but I'm just saying, like, look at the best women wrestlers, right, that you can think of. I'll use Rhea Ripley as the example. Yeah, she sells like a guy. It's believable. She commands the attention. Fucking Lana, come on.
I would argue that's
Get no arguments from me. Get no arguments from me.
Aye. I just genuinely think, though, that's down to basic talent, whether it's male or female, whether you can sell or not. You got people there that, for example, there was a great one where you see like people like Will Ospreay and people like that, where they just bounce around like a bouncy ball. They get hit by a fucking massive clothesline by the biggest guy in the ring, and then all of a sudden they jump up like it's nothing.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother story.
Well, that's about, you're talking about selling, and it's like, yeah, but women are guilty of that too. You know what I mean? Men are just as guilty as women as not selling. It's
all wrestlers who work that way are as guilty as that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
are guilty of that, I should say.
Well, this is it. I might have got my words twisted, but that's what I meant. But yeah, I just put it down as a fucking lack of talent thing. Like, you know, you could, like, for example, you compare, like, I don't know. I'm not out of the loop with wrestling at the minute. I can't even pull names out of a hat.
It'll be a lack of people behind the scenes who don't know the fundamentals of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's be honest, you have the likes of, you know, as well. I can't even say like people who might be backstage at WWE because I don't really particularly watch it. But
can I just jump in and say this is mainly a WWE problem?
No.
No.
I'm sorry. Have you ever heard of the fucking? Well, I'm not calling them the Young Bucks because they ain't fucking young.
I'm talking about women wrestlers at the minute in terms of the total.
Have you seen the lack of talent in fucking AEW as well? You've got one talented wrestler and you don't fucking use her.
Which one's that?
Rosa, she's not even yours.
Hang on. Oh God. Oh my. No, I'm not even gonna. No, not going to tonight. No. This podcast is for.
The thing I'll say. They've got people behind the scenes, the likes of Arn Anderson and Sting, who have wrestled in sort of like the area where selling has been a main point to get over the importance and, you know, the fundamentals of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't seem like they're being utilised properly.
Agreed. 100% agreed.
Because I tell you one person that is absolutely desperately missed from WWE backstage, who passed away like a few months ago, Pat Patterson.
Amen.
Because you go and look at both Royal Rumble matches from this year, and none of the current roster stands out. All of the big spots went to all of the part-timers and the legends. They were the only people who shone the most. Yeah, everybody else was just an afterthought.
But the thing is, you can say that's been a problem with WWE forever.
Well, yeah.
I mean, if you talked about backstage at the WWE, there is only one person that I know is backstage at WWE, and that's Michael Hayes. But Michael Hayes has always been a joke.
And he hasn't got the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian to go and say, "Why don't you go jump off a ladder, kid?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
Make a name for yourself.
The rest of them are all Stephanie's people Stephanie has hired as head of creative to come in and are comedy writers. They write dramas, etc., etc. They're all Ivy League this and that. Not a single one of them ever worked in the wrestling business. Not a single one of them know anything about how to book a wrestling match. Yeah? And they're the people who are coming up with our storylines and telling wrestlers, air quotes, for a lot of them, how to wrestle, what to do. that's the fundamental problem with WWE. Nobody stands out because everybody's given scripted material, so you can't stand out. Written by morons.
I was listening to something the other day. I think it was on What Culture, and what was telling to me about what they said was, in the past, there's always been your top guys, your middle of the pack guys, and obviously your lower card guys. That sort of disappeared. If you look at that, especially the Raw roster now, they've got the likes of Damian Priest coming up, Punishment Martinez in Ring of Honor, correct me if I'm wrong. The likes of him, they've got Keith Lee, all the bleeding Retribution lot, Seth Rollins, the list goes on. They're all bunched up in this one singular ball of
shit.
Yeah. And there's no distinguished roles that anyone has anymore. So these lot fight for the Intercontinental title, or these lot are your main carders and they fight for the WWE title. Yeah. Or there's no solid tag team division either. Yeah. And it's a problem now that WWE are just buying everybody. And for some reason, and I can't figure myself, the biggest asset WWE have had in the last, I'm going to push it and say 5 years, would be NXT. That's WWE's biggest asset. In terms of pro wrestling fans. If you're appealing to pro wrestling fans, their biggest asset is NXT. If you're a wrestling fan,
well, that's what
I mean. Was NXT? So I doubt if you're a pro wrestling fan, you at the minute would want to watch Monday Night Raw for 3 hours. I doubt you can do that. I can barely do it. I just watch fucking highlights. Or you can watch SmackDown. I don't see how you can do it. No disrespect to the wrestlers themselves. It is a poorly written, scrambled together. It's like they've got the writers of Lost together. That's what I mean. The writers of Lost. Lost was a very popular TV show, going way back when, a few years ago now. And basically, what happened was they wrote the first series, and the advice that I could have. The first series was amazing, and the advice I could give to them back then was, don't write a TV show if you don't know where you're going with it. And right now, everyone who writes for WWE doesn't know where they're going with it. They don't know who's who or what's what.
There's a very good reason for that, because the person that they're writing for has about as much patience with long-term booking as I do for, like, you know, people trying to defend, I don't know, sort of like Gina Carano.
Yeah,
to be topical. That's about sort of like his attention span. That's about his patience. So
you see now,
I can understand the frustration, but at the same time, I do have sort of like sympathy for these, you know, these writers, because they'll probably have like a first draft of everything, and then sort of like, you know, a couple of days later, Mr. Vinnie Mac will say, "I don't like this, pal. You gotta change it," and you know they have to go. Aah! So they have to go fucking scrambling, changing this, there, and everywhere. Whereas, I mean sort of like to bring up OSW Review again, they've very recently just finished an arc of like doing a lot of New Generation stuff, and they were documenting the feud between Bret Hart and his brother Owen Hart, and that is sort of like it's an example of sort of like long-term booking. Because they sort of like had a program that lasted from Survivor Series 1993, which was around about November time, up until SummerSlam of 1994, which is around about sort of like August. So that's like I don't know, like a 9-10 month program.
10 months, yeah. 10 months.
Something like that. And it has twists, it has turns, but it has one goal at the end of it of just sort of like, you know, and they tell this story from beginning to end. And for the most part, it's fucking phenomenal. And it's just sort of like you have that as an example. You have sort of like the mega powers explode. You know, Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan. That lasted from WrestleMania 4 to the main event of WrestleMania 5. Like, you know, it's this thing of sort of like long-term booking that WWE, for the most part, can't do because the very person that they're writing for changes his minds like 3 or 4 times every fucking week.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, I would say, I don't know how much say he has in NXT because NXT has fallen off a cliff. I don't know whether it's because it's suddenly now on actual TV and not just on the network, whether it moved to 2 hours.
Do you think it going up against AEW is a telling point between? Do you not think he's a little bit?
No,
I think it's very stupid of them putting up their greatest asset against something that
it's not even a war. I don't even think it comes into his consideration. No, I understand what you're saying because
it's competition.
It is a detriment to NXT to put it up on a network on TV rather than AEW. But the next day it's on the WWE network. So just watch AEW and then go watch NXT the next day when you.
Haven't they sold the WWE network?
Yeah, so it's now cheaper. It costs you $4.99 a month rather than $9.99 a month.
But at the same time as well, when you're getting put on nationally syndicated television, its ratings are going to become a factor. Like particularly with sort of Vince McMahon, one of his sort of carings in sort of nowadays wrestling is getting the best ratings as possible. Yeah. So, of course he's going to have sort of more, this is more my pie pal, other than sort of Triple H just going, I'm trying to run sort of a competent, good wrestling promotion here, and he's just sort of whatever.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I say, I understand what you're saying, but to me, it's just, I don't want to say it's the availability of it that makes it fail, because it's not. I mean, you still have to wait a month before you can watch an episode of SmackDown on the network. But NXT, you can watch it the next day.
Yep.
So it airs on TV, next day it's available on the network. So if you want to watch both, you might as well watch AEW live if you're there, and then just catch up on on NXT on the network. You don't even have to DVR it, whatever to call it.
Yeah, there is that. What makes me laugh about AEW and what people are talking about, saying that AEW are winning in the fucking ratings war, this, that, and the other. And I think to myself, we're beating AEW. It's like saying, in Formula One, says, you're beating a Mercedes, but that Mercedes is attached to a fucking Williams.
Yeah.
It's the third string.
I don't like people that...
Developmental promotion. Because that's what it is.
Yeah. So
Finn Balor's in developmental?
Yeah.
To help out, to raise...
To help out? He's not
Balor's developmental.
Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, are in a developmental?
Too small to be on Raw. They're too small. They wrestle a niche style. That suits the NXT brand.
I would argue...
That's not what people want to watch.
I would argue that NXT, it started off as a developmental brand, but then you sort of get around sort of 2014, 2015, when they had the likes of Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn coming in, who, are established wrestlers. That's okay. They're established on the independent scene. They're coming into the national TV. The sort of being there to sort of be prepared for going on to nationally syndicated television. I don't think you can call NXT a developmental brand anymore when it's on nationally syndicated television.
Of course you can call it developmental. At the end of the day, think about Heat, think about Velocity, think about all these kind of little shows that had matches on it, with a guy you don't know versus a guy who, is an undercard guy, isn't established, and that was part of their form of developmental, You look at what NXT is, if it's not a developmental, you don't get called up to the main roster.
That's the terminology you need to make sure. That's how it's portrayed, because, you get called up, you get promoted.
It's not that much of a promotion.
Though. It isn't, no.
But insulting.
It's going from being in front of a couple of thousand people at the time when they had crowds and say 500,000 viewers to being in front of 1.6 million viewers at its best.
These are
And
professionals. They're not going to change stuff over a couple of million. Sure. Adam Cole's not going to. Adam Cole is a professional. He's been doing this for years. He's been in the Tokyo Dome. He's done for New Japan. He's been for Ring of Honor. I'm not being funny, but that bloke isn't going to fret over being on SmackDown or Raw.
I will argue. I will argue this, yeah? Okay, he's wrestled the Tokyo Dome, he's done this and the other, and that is a big arena, I will get that, but that is one show in an entire year. When you're wrestling on WWE, and you're on tour, and you're on Raw, and you've got crowds, you're wrestling in front of 30,000 people per night.
Yeah.
But do you think that bothers someone? If you're a professional, things like that should not bother you.
It shouldn't bother you, I agree.
It happens to everybody. Everybody can suffer with anxiety. Yeah?
Look at Lars Sullivan. Lars Sullivan. It happened to Lars Sullivan. He was okay in NXT.
Lots of things happened to Lars Sullivan.
Yeah, we'll go into that.
That was just a plethora of things. But I'm sorry, but I don't like. I think it's insulting to say that someone the status in terms of forget WWE, AEW, and forget the different promotions for a minute. Let's take pro wrestling as a whole. Adam Cole and Finn Balor are very high up in terms of what pro wrestling fans think of them. They're very up there.
It depends what you think about pro. It depends on the type of fan you're talking about.
Regardless, Adam Cole and Finn Balor are the names. You know what I mean? They're the name. In terms of pro wrestling, it's up there in terms of names, aren't they? In the pro wrestling world.
Yes, if you're a big person into wrestling, if you're like, for example, 10-year-old little Timmy,
10-year-old
he's not going to know who Adam Cole is.
Roman Reigns or John Cena are 10-year-old little Timmy's big guys.
Yeah. If you're a big,
you could have phrased that a bit differently. Okay.
But you know what I
mean. Where are your big guys?
But it's the big names that casual fans, where WWE make most of their money from. They're the guys that they're going to know. The biggest merch sellers are these guys like Roman Reigns, like John Cena, like Braun Strowman. The larger-than-life guys that are like, wow, that is a pro wrestler. If NXT has its market, AEW has its market, ROH has its market. What you know? Well, had its market. But the point is, these guys, if you notice, the big, huge 7-foot guys tend to end up in WWE because that is what they think. Right, pro wrestling is WWE. Pro wrestlers are these big, huge guys that are larger than life, not 5'8" Adam Cole, who you pass him in the middle of the street and say, oh yeah, he's actually quite, he's fairly built, but you wouldn't say, right, he's a pro wrestler.
Yeah,
he's got the skills. He can sell. He can do this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, look what happened to someone like Ricochet on the main roster, shall we say? They still call it the main roster.
Yeah.
Right? Someone like Ricochet, who's immensely talented, can do amazing stuff, is ultimately lost in the shuffle on Raw and SmackDown, partly because of how he wrestles, partly because how he's been booked.
And partly because how he looks, because I feel that, and I'll be honest, I was the biggest fucking advocate for sort of like, Daniel Bryan through his fucking run, because he had probably one of the biggest connections with sort of like, there's one of the biggest potentials of sort of like having a connection with the mainstream audience, because they basically looked at this guy. Okay, he's not built like a pro wrestler, but by God, he fucking works his socks off and he doesn't give up and he doesn't, give in and stuff like that.
Well,
so I feel that
there was shit like a pro wrestler. That's the thing.
Yeah.
If you look at Daniel Bryan, you will think pro wrestler.
Yeah.
Because of the way he carries himself, he looks bigger than he actually is.
Yeah.
And he doesn't bounce around the ring like an eel. Slithering around like people like Ricochet do, and it just makes them look a lot smaller. It's like you're not going to see someone the size of like Braun Strowman flying around
Yeah.
Like that. And that's what WWE's main product is all about. It's larger than life guys.
I feel like that's been a sort of like a detriment to the wrestling business as a whole.
Yes.
Because they've basically looked at Daniel Bryan and just sort of like been like, oh, well, if Daniel Bryan can make it, anybody can make it as a professional wrestler. And you just feel like you have to go, yeah, but you need more than just sort of like, you can have sort of like a body type, you can be sort of like the height of Daniel Bryan or whatever, but what made Daniel Bryan great was the fact that he was able to connect with that level, with that level of an audience, that they would get behind him at every fucking stretch.
And the guy,
I feel that's given like a lot of wannabe pro wrestlers, a lot of people who want to be pro wrestlers who may be sort of like similar to Daniel Bryan, and I feel like they get given too much of an opportunity when you think about it, just sort of like, is there anybody who is sort of like Daniel Bryan from a physical aspect that will be able to connect as much as he has been able to connect?
No, because he has a personality and he has the way he puts himself across.
Well, that's the thing. It's just sort of like, people, they may have these sort of like, these personalities just brewing under the surface, but, for the most part, they're not allowed to sort of like showcase these personalities that they've got possibly sort of like, bubbling under the surface.
This is it. And I do feel like someone like Daniel Bryan is a bit of an anomaly. And I don't want to say that. I know there's a lot of guys out there that are really fucking talented. Yeah. That deserve that spot. But they're not going to be booked that way with WWE because their thing is, I want a guy who's 6'6" and absolutely juiced.
Yep.
That is what they want. And if you're not that, you are not getting booked to the moon. Look at someone like Drew McIntyre. There's so many guys that are a better wrestler than they are, but because they're a lot smaller than him, they're not getting a look in.
Yeah,
because that's not what Vince sees as a pro wrestler. Wrestler.
That's not what Vince McMahon sees as like a main event of WrestleMania.
Exactly. Unless you're like, say, Daniel Bryan, which was the anomaly, I feel, but that was because the story and the booking behind that run was fucking phenomenal.
Even if they didn't intend for him to get over as he got over.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. Despite their booking, he still managed to be like the hottest act in the company at the time.
Yep.
Which I don't think you can say about a lot of people nowadays with the way WWE book.
Yeah.
Because they just fucking, they flop and they flounder and they end up fucking going on main event for the rest of the WWE.
They end up chasing R-Truth around.
Well, yeah.
That's what they end up doing.
Yep.
That's when when your WWE career's down the shit, is when you start chasing R-Truth. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I don't know if we mentioned in a bit that miss, but where the fuck is Aleister Black?
Well, this is it, another guy. Now this guy has got star written all over him.
Well, I thought he did. Because he was different and unique. And he's wrestling, with a striking style. But
the last feud he was in was that whole like Aleister Black, Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens feud against fucking Messiah Seth Rollins and his little band of merry men, and then his fiancée Zelina Vega got released because she was like arguing with them over sort of.
She made more money from her OnlyFans than she did from the WWE.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there's sort of like somewhere in every talent's contract that if you're making more on these sort of like websites or whatever than you are making from your actual contract, that WWE is owed sort of like a slice of that pie, and she apparently disagreed, and that's what led to her release.
Well, yeah, basically the thing that they put in place, because I'm not too sure, I don't know if it was, I'm assuming it must have been in the contracts, but they basically said that if you make money from these third parties, it comes out of your base contract.
Yeah.
And anything over and above your base contract is ours.
Mm-hmm.
So which is ridiculous.
Well, I mean, it might be ridiculous, but the thing is, if you sign on the dotted line and then you sort of like go into a thing of, oh, well, this isn't what I negotiated, then WWE themselves can just sort of like, right there in your contract, love.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's scummy. It's scummy, but it's legal.
Yeah, that's because one of our favourite podcasts, Wrestling Soup, did this whole like thing of, I think it was like Paige that was like, of like went into a great big massive sob story. It was like, I can't go out and wrestle, the one thing I love to do, and they're trying to take money off me. It's like, love, you're being paid like 250k a fucking year to appear on like 6 episodes of WWE Backstage. Yeah, it sucks what fucking happened to you, but that's what happens when you freaking go into, when you start training to be a wrestler at fucking age 10 and your fucking body hasn't had time to grow properly.
Yeah.
And it fucking sucks what happened to it. It's like, it is, but you can't legitimately fucking, cry wolf and say, oh, WWE are taking my, taking away my sort of like my pleasures of being able to stream and that, when they're paying you X amount of money for sort of like doing a couple of fucking talk shows a year.
And let's remember as well, they actually paid her when she broke her fucking neck. And to do nothing, and to parade around with Roberto El Patron.
Yeah, making a fucking ass of herself and company.
Yeah, and they paid her.
And she's still on the fucking books.
Yeah. So, it's one of them. Anne, what do you think about, like, talent in WWE? Because, we kind of tangented off that, and your face was saying, yeah, you're talking bollocks.
I'm taking it all in because it's such a messed up bloody world in general at the minute. And I think the world of pro wrestling is messy in terms of WWE, because it so depends on not how good you are at your job, but how you look doing it.
Unfortunately, I would say pro wrestling, that's probably 50% of the...
And I think that's because you're all talking about, the terms of how you look like a main eventer, or you look like you're a world champion, etc.
Not saying I agree with it.
I'm just saying, but that's the general thing, isn't it? And I think, isn't that kind of the problem? That's the problem that Vince himself has created, not just in his own company, but in others as well.
I will argue.
I think it's a big demon hanging over wrestling at the minute. It's a big demon, and I can't help but thinking that people's confidence, if I'm good at my job, and someone walks in who I know I'm better than, but my boss deems they look the part more, that's going to knock me back a bit. It's a very dangerous cycle to get into, not just for your company, because I don't think it'll affect Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon will just buy another 6 foot something wrestler, turn him into a wrestler.
He already has.
It's never going to affect him. It never is. It never will. But in terms of me now, I'm a 5'8", nothing. Okay, so let's go back to when I was 18 and think about, okay, I want to be a wrestler, and I hear this, oh, you're not going to be anything unless you're 6 foot something. You're not going to be anything unless you look absolutely massive. And then there's part of me that wants to turn around and say, why is that the case? And I think it just damages people in the end. I think it really does. It really does it must bring people down to the absolute bare bones of confidence.
Sorry, Paul, I don't mean to talk.
No, go ahead, man. You go ahead, man.
But the way that it plays to me is, okay, you at 5'8" or whatever. You walk in there and somebody says, right, you're no offense, we don't see you as main event material. But why can't you be the guy who works with the main eventer? Why can't? Okay, you're not a world champion, but you've still got to work at that level. You've still got made the most of what you've got. Yeah. And some way, look at Finn Balor. No offense to Finn Balor, I think he's great. A little bit too much of the divey stuff, but it works because he's a smaller guy. Fine. He looks, he looks great for a smaller guy. And he got that world heavyweight title. And okay, he held it for a day, and then, he got injured and whatever. And now he's in NXT. Does he think, as the NXT champion, that title is worth any less than the world heavyweight title? No. But he's worked in the main event. He's worked with Brock Lesnar. Yeah, he's worked with the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's more of a healthier attitude to most guys nowadays, where they're just sort of like, it's okay to sort of like, because there's the age old thing of sort of like, Triple H just going, if you're not in this business to be world heavyweight champion, then what the hell are you doing here? I don't think that necessarily applies to a lot of people, because there are a lot of guys who just sort of like, they know they're not going to be a main event of WrestleMania. They know they're not going to be competing for, they know they're not going to be sort of like world champions. And a lot of people, like particularly nowadays, are okay with that. They sort of like, they know their position in the company, and they're just sort of like, they're just going, well, okay, this dream isn't possible, but I'm going to make the best out of this situation that I'm put in. Like, one of the people that always comes to mind is sort of like someone who always goes to shoot above his weight and is incredibly bitter about it is Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
Because Dolph Ziggler is just sort of like, you don't look at Dolph Ziggler and think, yes, that is the main event, that is the main face of the company, where he fought entirely differently, and that's why he's thought of significantly less than he was sort of like maybe 5-6 years ago.
Yeah. But I mean, on the flip side, look at somebody like William Regal, he was on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I've been to see him live, and he's talked about it. I knew I wasn't going to be the main guy. Yeah. And he said, even when I was working in England, I was Big Daddy's tag team partner, and that was the best I could ever do. I would be his tag team partner in the main event every week, and Big Daddy would get all the glory, and I would just be his tag team partner who gets worked over. That was my role. So I quit. I went to America, and I knew I wouldn't be the main guy, but I wanted something more, something different.
Yeah.
And he said, and even like, when I've been in the company for a long while, like, they set me up to work with Edge, and Vince comes over and he says, just they know that I can work, and they know that I know that I'm there basically to give people a roughing up, and we'll see how they react to it. So that's what I did. I gave him a couple of potatoes, and and Edge still goes over.
It's the JBL mentality of just sort of like, I'll give them a couple of socks. If they give me a couple of back, I'm like, ooh, we're on something here.
Exactly. But that's what he was told to do. He's told to go and see if this guy's main event level, see if this guy can handle it. So I went, I roughed him up a bit, give him a bit of a good going over and whatnot, because they knew I could do that. I knew I was going to lose, but it didn't matter, because I was there to do a job, so I did my job. And he always knew that's the level he was going to be at.
But the thing is, though, if you know that level and they see you as a good hand, you've got a job for life. That's the thing. Look at William Regal now. Well, Dolph Ziggler's got a job for life. R-Truth has got a job for life. They know their lane. They know their lane. They stick to it. They're happy with it, and they'll never be stuck for money again for the rest of their lives.
Yeah,
never. I know it's disappointing when maybe if you're a massive fan of these wrestlers and you think they're the most talented people in the world. Yes, they are very talented, but they're not necessarily talented in the way that WWE sees them. They may see that, like, for example, someone like William Regal, who's a fantastic worker, who can wrestle a decent match out of a broom. But at the end of the day, you're not going to have a broom as your world champion.
Yeah.
You're going to want somebody to work who can work well as themselves against another wrestler that may not be able to wrestle a great match.
Yeah.
You want these hands
to make them look good.
Broom. To make them look good, yeah. You need them.
And like, I always think back to, the very few times that I've watched like WWE over the past, and the likes of the Cesaro Sheamus feud before they ended up being a tag team. The Aleister Black Buddy Murphy feud, the like very brief feud between sort of like Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. Those programs were very much lower on the card, but you almost enjoy them more than what's going on in the main event level.
Yes.
So you think to a certain extent, those are guys who sort of like, as you say, they know their lot in WWE and they're making the best of it. And, I've given you 3 examples there of like quality freaking television. Okay, it's not in the main event where they probably dreamed of going, when they'd, if they dreamed about being a wrestler from a kid. But as I say, just making the best of a bad situation and putting in as good a quality as they know they can give in. And I don't think there's any harm in sort of like, having that kind of mentality, because I think it's one of those things that's been phased out a lot from modern wrestling, and I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing.
No, I agree.
And not only that, on these lower card matches as well, where there's not as much attention on them, a lot of these people have a lot more like freedom to do what they want.
Yeah.
I relate to sort of like a I think it was like NXT Chicago or something like that, where it was Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne for the WWE UK Championship.
What a match!
But the thing is, like, you're watching that back, and the match initially begins. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Nobody really cares. It's like an added extra for the show. It's on the card, but nobody's really there to see the WWE UK Championship on display. By the end of that fucking match, every single person in that stadium is on their fucking feet.
Yeah.
It's on their fucking feet in awe, chanting fucking NXT, this is awesome, even getting a UK chant going.
Yeah.
Because, it's arguably the best thing on the card.
Yeah, it was the first title defense in front of an American crowd, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
And
for that specific title, yeah.
Yeah, and that, like you say, that got the crowd going. I mean, they didn't. This is a crowd who isn't used to the British style, yeah. So, and that was that. I mean, that match was fucking amazing.
Yes,
but I also could that match have been the main event of WrestleMania? Absolutely not.
No, it couldn't have been.
Because it's not a spec. It's not. This is part. I mean, not to move on to ragging on AEW, because I don't want to. But in AEW, you look at Cody Rhodes as the main guy. It might just be me, right? But Cody Rhodes is one of the most recognizable names they have, and should be in the main event.
Arguably, I would say he is. At least in the US, he is.
But he's not booked in the main event. No. He has 20-minute matches with job guys.
Well, that neck and neck tattoo doesn't really help.
True.
That is the worst tattoo I've ever seen in my life. I've seen some fucking shockers and all. Fuck me.
Well, I mean, what's worse, Cody's neck and neck tattoo or Brock Lesnar's great big massive sword down his chest?
To be fair, I think I've got nothing bad to say about Brock Lesnar, because if I did, he'd hunt me down and fucking snap me like a twig.
Wouldn't.
Yes, he fucking. Have you seen him? I'd much rather say Cody Rhodes, your tattoo is shit, than Brock Lesnar, your tattoo is shit. Let's be honest. The man's a former UFC heavyweight champion. I'm not fucking with that guy.
All I'm going to say about Brock Lesnar is cardio, run away.
Yeah, no.
Brock, I think you're perfect just the way you are.
Yeah, no offense, but Brock Lesnar can outrun me, so no, I'm not. I'm not giving him any shit. Cody Rhodes, come at me all you want, I outlay you. Brock Lesnar, no, You're all right, mate. Good man.
Cody Rhodes, I'll fucking sit on you.
Oh,
for fuck's sake. But yeah, oh man.
I think we put the world of wrestling to rights, isn't it?
Oh god, haven't we?
I was going to say, do you want to move on to a different topic? And
yeah, we can.
Just give me 1 second. I'll bring up a new background picture.
Oh, he's going to bring a background picture. Yes, that was what I was going to move on to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was.
Fucking hell.
Not the Jags per se, but there was a certain game that happened last week, and it was what can I say? Piss poor.
Well, yeah. I wanted to bring this up on the show, Paul, because technically this is your very first full NFL season.
Yes, it is. I watched the Super Bowl last year because I sort of thought, do you know what? These guys are talking about the NFL the whole time, and I'm aware of the NFL, and they seem to get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I thought, do you know what? What I'll do, I'll get into it the same way as I get into any sport that I'm curious about. Get a very old version of it for or like Xbox or PlayStation, and learn the rules that way. And that is what I did, and I got into it. And it's sort of like all the basic things to learn. Basically, is you got 4 attempts to get it 10 yards. If not, you have to hand the ball back. That's it. Keep going until you get to the end. That's the basics. And I got into it. I thought, yeah, actually, I understand this sort of thing. So I got into it, started watching. I thought, do you know what? I'll pick a team and I'll watch the Super Bowl. So I went through my selection process, sort of like going through my teams. In the end, I ended up settling on the Bears because, my son likes Bears, and the only affiliation of any city I've got is because of a podcast that originates from there.
And they have a quality defense. And to be honest with you, if you're thinking about sort of like the same podcast that I'm thinking of, if you're sort of like putting it, it's a toss up between the Bears and the Patriots, then I think you.
Well.
Please don't. I've honestly, I've never. Stephen Hawking could have thrown the ball fucking better than Cam Newton this year. I mean, fucking hell. Honestly, there's literally people with no arms who I would have rather had at quarterback this year.
Jesus.
And I've honestly, I've never been so depressed on a Sunday night in my whole life. To watch him constantly throw it to the other team. He either throws it to the other team or thin fucking air, and it's the most irritating thing. Because I'm not being funny, I have a tremendous amount of respect for these guys because you have to remember all these players. But how hard could it fucking be to throw it to someone in the same fucking colour shirt as you? Because I'm not just Jesus wept. Fuck me.
Not to be a Cam Newton defender, but I think the smartest thing the Patriots did, because they were obviously going to sign him, at the beginning of the season, they waited. They signed him to a veteran minimum contract, so he got paid basically nothing.
Yep. To
see if the shoulder surgery he'd gone through in the offseason worked. It clearly did not.
It's nothing to do with his shoulder. It's his fucking brain. Fucking hell. He needs brain surgery.
That as well, and he had COVID as well, a couple of weeks into the season. And I can tell you from sort of watching players in the Premier League, when they come back from COVID,
they're not the same.
They're not necessarily at the races right away.
Look at Myles Garrett to the Browns.
Yeah. Well, as I say, I'm with Bunkle, who's sort of it's a trial by fire.
Yeah.
It's a trial by fire period for the Patriots because it's
It was a freemium trial. It was a freemium trial. That's what it was.
You're trying to replace what is arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. You're gonna go through some hardships.
It's not even arguable anymore. I mean, okay, you can say Montana was great, you can say Steve Young was great, etc., but nobody in sports has 7 titles.
Not one NFL Not one NFL
Hang on a
team
minute.
has.
Lewis Hamilton.
No. All right.
Not individual
Michael
sports,
Jordan's
not
up there as
individual
well.
sports.
I'll let you off.
Put this into context. Tom Brady has more Super Bowl rings than any one team in the NFL.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point.
Think about it this way, right? You like NBA, aren't you?
Yeah.
Tom Brady is more likely to appear in the Super Bowl than Steve Curry, whatever he's called.
Steph
Curry.
Steph Curry.
Steve. Big up Steve Curry.
Steve Curry.
Steph Curry is to hit a three-pointer.
Excellent discounts on his madras. Halal, is it meat you're looking for? By Steve Curry.
But yeah, so Tom Brady is more likely to go to the Super Bowl than Steph Curry is to make a three-pointer over the course of both their careers.
It is a bit of a mad stat, that, yeah. It's a bit mad.
Ridiculous. And, you know, I hate Tom Brady. I'll be open. I hate him. I hate his face. But he's the greatest of all time. And I hate him for it, but there you go. I mean, you know, you look at all the records Drew Brees broke and this, that, and the other, and yeah, you can't be Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
And he's with the Saints, so.
The thing is, man, you're not the only one in the boat of, you know, sort of like being in this call of supporting a team that is going to go through a fucking rough patch for the next couple of years, because as Mr. Billy the Boy Bunkle will tell you, as a Saints fan, their long-standing quarterback Drew Brees, who is a God-given talented athlete, arguably probably should have been to more Super Bowls. You could probably argue should have had more Super Bowl wins. He has, for the large part, had his career fucking wasted at the Saints because they're not a together unit. And, you know, now he's decided to hang the boots up, as they would say. And, you know,
for the first time in his career, has taken a massive pay cut to help the Saints out.
Because they've got so much, because they're that far in the red.
Yes.
and I'm sorry to say this, man. It's like you're probably going to be like Anthony, as your team is going to go through some hard times over the next couple of years.
Not only is our team going to go through hard times, but we will struggle to get back out of it. Ant's team, because Bill Belichick is somehow magic, will no doubt trade with the Jacksonville Jaguars for the number 1 pick, get Trevor Lawrence, and go straight
back. Off.
Christ, have you just simulated a Madden season? Calm down, pal.
In Ant's dreams. Like, I realise the fucking Jacksonville Jaguars aren't the fucking model organisation of the NFL, but they're not that fucking stupid.
If that happened, I'll be cartwheeling naked round Blackpool for the next fucking 10 months.
And I'll drive around to get video footage.
Yeah, I fucking will as well. What is that? Come on.
Since it might not be number 1, that's you know, but since the beginning of the season, I've said the Patriots are trying to tank, and they've
did a shit job of it.
Shit job.
Can't even fucking do that right.
They've come. Is this not the worst record they've ever had under Belichick? All right. And therefore, they'll have the highest pick they've ever had under Belichick. You're telling me that they won't bundle picks from this year, picks from next year, etc., to move up the draft and select the quarterback of the future?
Well, if they want a high quality quarterback, they're gonna have to fucking shift a load of fucking draft capital. Because, you know, with the field this year, I mean, you've got like Trevor Lawrence, you've got Justin Fields out of Ohio State, you've got fucking Zach Wilson that everybody's talking about. There's fucking Trey Lance. I mean, I don't think it's. I don't think
from Alabama, who I could see them going for because he's worked under Saban, who learned under Belichick. The guy from the Gators, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Oh,
who's available in the second round.
But at the same time as well, there are as many quarterbacks as I can remember that are looking at trades elsewhere in free agency or like trades elsewhere who are on current rosters. You know, there's like top of the list is fucking Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
The fucking Houston Texans, well, they're probably the most shit show organization in the NFL at the moment because
That's understatement.
because from fucking even going back to sort of like last year, they traded away their top wide receiver. Their top wide receiver for for like a couple of picks and like a backup running back.
A backup running back and like a 3rd round pick or something stupid.
Yeah, because and like I think it was like the current coach and head and general manager at the time, Bill O'Brien, comparing him to Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez, who was a former former NFL running back and is a convicted murderer.
It was a tight end. Yeah.
Oh, it was a tight end, was it? Well,
if you want to know what he did, I think there's a show on Netflix.
There is a show on Netflix about Aaron Hernandez.
Actually.
Yeah.
Go and watch it. It's fascinating and thoroughly enjoyable.
And
it's right up there with Schindler's List.
And
if you thought Anne Frank was comedy, up you come. Get this down your neck. You'll love it.
And
God,
to add to the Houston Texans' worries as well, they not only started 0-5 in the season, but they've pissed off their star quarterback by not having him have a say in sort of like the hiring of a new head coach, or was it GM? I can't remember.
GM.
Was it GM? Right. Okay. So he's wanting out. It was already released today that their star defensive lineman, TJ Watt, is going to be released. So he's off. He's off.
And I'm free falling. That's
yep. And they don't have their top 2 picks in the draft because they've traded it away to fucking Miami. So they are the biggest fuck ups. They are the biggest fuck ups in terms of organisation in the NFL, and so I wouldn't.
I think Houston as a whole has just gone mad. They've recently traded the Houston Rockets traded a few weeks ago now. James Harden from the Rockets to the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, what are you doing?
Oh well, they had to get rid of Harden. To be fair,
Houston as a whole has been, well, the sports teams in Houston, Texas, have been in a fucking hole since the Houston Astros, who are their baseball team, won the World Series in 2017. And they didn't even do it properly. They legitimately fucking cheated. And you look at the shit show that has gone through every single one of their sporting organizations since this tainted win from their baseball team. And it's terrifying. Like, there's a link that my favorite NFL YouTuber, Urinating Tree, has done about the Houston Texans. It's like a half-hour video that's basically documenting everything that's happened from sort of like the sporting teams of Texans from the Astros baseball like World Series win up until sort of like, I don't know, halfway through the NFL season this year. Like, it's fucking scary how every single one of their sporting franchises has gone fucking plummeting to the ground. Plummeting.
You know,
like, it's fucking scary.
Then we have the middling mediocrity that is the Chicago Bears at this moment in time as well.
Oh, buddy. Oh, mate.
Houston, if you want us to come round and sort it out for you, we'll be more than happy to. Just set your very standards very fucking low.
Well, apparently the Bears are interested. Is it Wentz or whatever his name is?
Carson Wentz, Philadelphia, who, given his fucking comments towards the end of the season, it's like, okay, I admit you were done dirty by Doug Peterson, but at the same time, you have to be the bigger guy. You have to be the bigger guy. You can't just be sort of like, you can't be doing what the fucking Pittsburgh Steelers did and just sort of like, you know, being Mr. Billy Big Bollocks, when in actuality, you know, you should like know your place, which seems to be the theme of the podcast, sort of like knowing your place.
To the Pittsburgh Steelers, I just want to say, the name of your stadium is Heinz Stadium. Now, it's not a great start, is it? Because I know you make tomato sauce for a living at Heinz. And
baked beans.
And baked beans. It's not a stadium that inspires sort of, let's get our baked beans going, boys! Woo! Yeah.
It's not a soldier field, is it?
Baked beans. You know what I mean? No one's chanting and defending Heinz Field, are they? It's sort of like defending your back garden at this rate.
Sketty you.
That's what they should replace when they win a game. Instead of confetti, bang, spaghetti hoops, baked beans, name it. People absolutely smothered in Heinz. Absolutely smothered in Heinz. Bring some character to the place. I'm not inspired by the name Heinz Field. It's sort of like, oh.
If you do that, though, you've got to have a family section that's got them, those spaghetti shapes at the top of the tank engine and stuff like that.
You can just nickname that the Nickelodeon zone.
Leeds don't have the Yorkshire Tea Arena, do they? And nor should they.
I don't know, that would be fucking brilliant.
Tea bags. Yeah, going absolutely bully for tea bags down in Yorkshire.
What were your? I'm interested to know, Paul. Like, given this was your very first season, take your Chicago Bears out of the fray.
Aye.
How have you enjoyed your debut season?
I've enjoyed it the more I've understood it, if that makes sense. The more I've learned, when you first watch it, you see these flags flying out, you're like, what are they for? And you look at it, but I don't see anything wrong. Like, for example, pass interference, it's like, I don't see what's wrong with that, what they're doing. And then as you go in, you understand it, it's explained to you, it's like, oh, yeah. And you start to see, rather than how I described it, how simple it was, to how complex a sport it actually is.
Yeah.
And you know me, I watch Formula One. It's a really complex sport. It's not just a case of watching cars going round in a circle. To the uninitiated, it is. But once you get into it, the depth, there's a lot more to it. It's the same with American football. Once you dig into it a bit more, it's infinitely more enjoyable.
Yeah.
And some of the best because obviously the shit show that we've had of COVID recently, some of the best evenings entertainment has been me sat there over beer watching Red Zone.
I must say that show is done so well.
It's brilliant.
Yeah,
I described it to someone. It's like 6 hours of football. I described it as match of the day, but for American football and done as it happens.
It's interesting you say that, because there's a BT Sport do a show for the Champions League called the Champions League Goals Show, which is a very similar concept to it, but it's sort of like where they'll sort of like they'll focus on one game and they'll focus on another game, and then they'll pop around each game that's being played, and when a major thing happens in sort of like one game, they'll go and like cut to it.
Yes.
But that's sort of like you get more from sort of like NFL Red Zone, because there's a lot more going on, because a lot more stuff can happen in a game of American football than, say, in a game of like soccer, as they would call
it. Absolutely. And it's like when it was like I think it was like the last game of the regular season, and it was either the Bears going into the playoffs or the Cardinals, and there was another team. I think it was the Rams, was it?
Yeah.
And it was 2 or 3 was going to make it, and it was a case of, how do you watch these? Both of these happened at the same time. Red Zone.
Yep.
It's so easy to keep track of, and it was like, I really enjoyed it. I mean,
they give you scenarios and possibilities of just sort of like, if this team wins, that means this team has to do this, and sort of like, that's the beauty of the NFL in main aspects, particularly when you get to the end of the season, because when there were like playoff places on the line, and sort of like, there are games that, there are vital games, they're must watch, because from a drama standpoint, they really are fucking entertaining. Really are entertaining.
Well, even like I say, there's something to play for all the way through the season. I mean, no matter where you are, it's like.
Well, for some of you.
For some of you.
Well, I mean, sort of like take my. Hey, it's not.
It's in a weird way though. You're sort of like competing for draft places as well. You know what I mean? Draft picks.
Oh yeah, I'm fucking thrilled about that, aren't I? I'm fucking thrilled watching us fight it out to try to lose every week.
Hey, you're talking to somebody who, as a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, was all set on just having the number 2 pick and just sort of like, oh well, Trevor Lawrence is going off to the New York Jets, and then the Jets started winning against the teams like the Rams, and then they sort of like very nearly beat the Las Vegas Raiders.
Fucking hell, you just sort of like you were playing there. You just got to mix and match these fucking teams around. Then
too many sort of like LV, LA, and they're sort of like corresponding second names. And then as soon as it got to sort of like week 15, I believe it was, when sort of like the Jets won their second game, and I was just sort of like, hang on a minute, I was only expecting the number 2 pick. It was just sort of like, we got the first overall, and I'm there just sort of like going, Jets, what are you doing? It's like you can't even freaking tank properly. You have to butt fumble it, as you have done for the entirety of your existence. Which, hey, I'm not bothered about. We've got the number 1 overall pick. We've got an exciting manager coming in who's one of the most prolific winners in college football. Whether that translates to the NFL and whether he stays healthy enough to, keep his job, because like the past couple of jobs that he's had to, step down because of health reasons. And we've got sort of like, there is talent there on that roster at the moment. And we have like 75 to 80 million cap space. Well, we've got the most cap space of any team in the NFL. Yes. And also, they're going to be coming to Florida, where there's no fucking state income tax. So, you're just sort of like, hey, TJ Watt, come here.
TJ Watt's going to the Bucks, unfortunately.
I can just imagine it. Just particularly the way that offensive line of Kansas City fucking folded to that defense.
Yeah.
What they need is TJ Watt.
And at the risk of making you absolutely wet yourself laughing, because I'm not quite sure this, what the hell is a butt fumble?
Oh,
I am not aware of this.
So, there was a game between the New York Jets and the New England Patriots. I want to say like mid-2000s.
Yeah.
Something like that. And basically what happened was the quarterback, they were going for sort of like, say, like a fake run play. So the quarterback gets the ball, he goes to hand it off to the running back, but it's a fake. So the running back runs forward, and then like the quarterback is going to do sort of like a quarterback sneak or a quarterback run or whatever. And he basically runs at his offensive line, doesn't find the gap, and runs right into one of his offensive linemen who is blocking for him, and just basically runs full force into his arse and fumbles.
So basically the ball bounces off his arse.
It has its own Wikipedia page, Paul. The butt fumble has its own Wikipedia page.
I will look for the video. I will look for the video on YouTube, and I will put it in the group chat.
Oh, wonderful!
There's a reason, and you will understand why the New York Jets are called the butt fumble. It's all summed up in that one perfect clip. And that is something I will show you later.
Do you know what makes it really bad? The last quarterback that actually won a game against Tom Brady in the playoffs was that quarterback.
Yeah.
Who, Ryan Tannehill?
Mark Sanchez.
I was going to say, Ryan Tannehill won the fucking wildcard game against New England.
Yeah, everyone fucking beats us.
Oh, maybe it was before. Maybe it was until that point.
Maybe it was Mark Sanchez before Ryan Tannehill.
Possibly.
Yeah,
maybe that's what
the people that beat the Patriots are great. Yeah.
Well, almost everyone this season, man. But you know,
she's so funny. Yeah.
not all get to the playoffs.
So, what do you think your teams are going to do this year? Like, where else do you think they're going to make
Fucking tank. I hope. I'm praying for a tank. Christ above.
Yeah, because you know
literal tank.
Because I'll tell you something, Ant. My team, about like 6-7 games into the season, really went on sort of like the mission 2 tank, and I'm telling you, bar like maybe the GM hire being a little bit sort of like questionable, I'm quite optimistic. I'm quite looking forward to seeing what we'll do with this next season. I mean, sort of like with the Jags, I'd say. I mean, like, I'm not expecting instant success because, like, with one of my teams sort of like follow, you know, in like soccer is Liverpool Football Club, and you know there was a time a few years ago where we got Jurgen Klopp in, and I wasn't expecting major success right there and then. We're going to be competing with fucking, you know, Premier League and Champions League titles. I realised that there was a process to it. And, you know, I sort of look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. They've got all this potential talent. And I'd say if we made a push for the playoffs, but if we were sort of like, say, come up short of week 17, then I wouldn't call that a disastrous season. You know,
That's fair.
And then you can sort of like build on it for next year, possibly.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Ant?
I'm just thinking if we buy someone we get someone who can throw a fucking football. I've half a mind to throw myself in the fucking hat, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Mitch Trubisky.
I was going to say Mitch Trubisky.
You know what? I'd be absolutely thrilled. Because let's be honest, at least he knows what colour kit his team's in. Honestly, Cam Newton, I'm sure you're a lovely, lovely man, but sweet baby Jesus, don't come. Just don't. Just don't. Please stop. Please stop.
It's the definition of a one-season wonder.
Maybe so, but just think about this. He's right. At least Mitch Trubisky can throw it to the right team. I'm staring down the barrel of Jameis 30 interception Winston.
Yeah, but that's before he got his fucking laser eye surgery. That's before he got his laser eye surgery. And to be honest with you, he hasn't thrown a football since he got that laser eye surgery.
Yeah,
so, you know.
He threw 5 passes for the season.
I don't know if you hope Star Trek sort of cure with his talent as well as his eyes. I don't think his eyes were the problem to begin with. I think it was the fact that he couldn't fucking throw a football. I think that was maybe if they gave him something fucking like robotic arms, that might help.
I'll turn him into Jax out of Mortal Kombat.
Yes, that's who we're looking at.
That's a good one.
Future quarterback.
Let's fucking sign Inspector Gadget. He'll do the job.
Or running back. That's our options.
RoboCop. Let's fucking have it, eh?
Jesus.
Terminator. Any more robots? I'm running out here. I've run out of robots.
Yeah. No. The Patriots, like if they don't trade up or select someone in the second round, Mitch Trubisky is a free agent, and
in other words,
Nick Foles is available as well.
I'm in for a very depressing time this autumn.
You're right there, Paul. You could get Big Dick Nick.
Yeah.
And honestly,
I wouldn't wish.
Won a Super Bowl. He's won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he's the definition of a situational quarterback. Bonkel. He was outshone at Jacksonville by the mustache that is Gardner Minshew, who is mediocre at best.
Guys, I appreciate you trying to solve the problem, which is A, my life, and B, the New England Patriots. But I just, you know, don't waste your breath. I think both are lost causes, to be honest with you. I mean...
I remember you say this in sort of like, you know, a month's time when sort of like Bill Belichick has worked his magic.
Yeah.
In a month's time, if we've got a first or second pick, honestly, whatever. I'm just so depressed. There's nothing worse than seeing the quarterback you've like admired for years go to another team and win another Super Bowl, where your actual team just tanks. Not even tanks. It's almost like a slow death, really. He didn't just sort of stab repeatedly, more than push the knife in once very fucking slowly. It's one of them. It was horrible. It was horrible to watch because I didn't know what was going to happen. Well, I did know 90% of what was going to happen was I was in for a very depressing evening.
Mate,
Sunday evenings are bad enough because you got Monday coming the day after. But when you're watching Cam Newton under centre and him literally have to think who to throw it to, he didn't even have like a primary sort of read. It was just like, that one.
To be fair, I mean, he was throwing to no one. What offensive skill position players have the Patriots got?
Julian Edelman, and that's it.
Yeah, Julian Edelman at mid-30s and can run a 5-yard in, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Oh, great. I was actually quite hopeful with Julian Edelman doing well, and now that you put it like that, there's literally no reason for me to watch the sport anymore.
Oh, shut up.
Mate, that's it for me.
Hey, Anthony, I'm a Liverpool Football Club fan. Given the rut that we're fucking in at the moment, I'm still going to be fucking watching Saturday and just sort of like be going, okay. But yeah, it's part of my life. It's same with NFL. It's just sort of like it's part of my life, and no matter how shit the team are doing, I'm going to be fucking watching.
To be fair, Ant, at the end of the day, as City fans,
I love how it's turned into an intervention. This.
Well, I feel it's hacked.
Okay?
I feel it's hacked too.
As Man City fans who have experienced true and utter disappointment being relegated to the old League Two and having to play Blackpool in the first game of the season, we know what true disappointment is. And at the end, you will come out of the fires like a phoenix and win the Premier League on several occasions.
And yet you still fail to make a Champions League final.
I'm sorry, what was this?
I think the Bears won't make the playoffs this year.
To be honest, Paul, it depends what they do.
Yeah,
it depends what they do because it's like I said to you in sort of like the start of the season. You can't go wrong with that defense that you've got. You cannot go wrong with that defense.
It's keeping hold of that defense. That's the issue right now.
It's keeping hold of that defense and actually building up some sort of an offense.
Yeah, it was non-existent. Let's be honest, it was non-existent.
Let's be honest. You capitalized on sort of like many people's fuck-ups, mainly the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Who became an instant meme throughout the season. But it in all honesty, yeah, it's one of two things. A, if you can keep that core of a defensive unit, because I'll be honest with you, as a Jacksonville Jags fan, you don't want to lose that core of a defensive unit because you end up in a 1-15 season.
Yep. That's where we would have been, I think, without a bit of luck and that defense. That's where we would have been, because that offense was fucking dire to watch.
Dreadful.
It was dire. It was sheer luck that we went in that run at the beginning of the season. Sheer luck. I think
it's literally down to the elite running back that he had.
Mm.
I honestly think he was the main driving force, which is ironic because that's the same thing as the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. And how the fuck we managed to actually beat Tom Brady and the Buccaneers at some point in the season, I have absolutely no idea how we managed that. I have absolutely no idea.
You get the odd shock result here and there throughout.
The thing is, it was Nick Foles who was quarterbacking.
Yeah.
He got Brady's number. False to the Patriots.
hey, do you know what? In sort of like, if he's there as sort of like a backup QV to, I don't know, like Brian Hoyer or whatever. I mean, just comes in for sort of like the situational awareness.
To be fair, Nick Foles does seem to get under Brady's skin, so it's one of them that I noticed. So
he's got his number.
Exactly. Yeah. So I would do that. But for me, it's keep the defense, rip the offense apart from Robinson, keep him.
Yep.
And just.
Oh, he's a free agent, isn't he, as well?
Yeah.
That's unless you franchise tag him.
Yeah. We've got to try and keep hold of him as well. So it could be a whole new bleeding, offence we need. And it's not going to be this season. So I can't see it happening.
Still going to be interesting though, as every NFL season has been.
Well, this season, this season, at least we've got a first round pick. So
just don't spend it on a fucking tight end again.
Oh God. So hopefully not. Hopefully it'll be either a fucking quarterback, some sort of half decent quarterback. So obviously we're not going to get a deal one, or we trade up for like someone like, I don't know. Like I said, we were looking like we might be getting Wentz, but could be getting Wentz.
Why not? I really like Carson Wentz. I don't understand. I understand he was a bit poor this season, but he was trying to do everything on his own.
It's offensive line. The thing is about Carson Wentz is just sort of like you have to judge him with a decent offensive line, because that offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles was utter trash.
It was trash this season. And you look at the season where Foles won the Super Bowl for him, it was the number one graded offensive line. And Wentz was having an MVP season until he got injured. So it spins in roundabouts, really. And like I think a first round pick, and though I'll probably get slated for it right now, Khalil Mack as a package to get Carson Wentz is more than worth it. You're getting a franchise quarterback for a defender who's on a decline and a mid-round first-round pick.
I don't know about Khalil Mack, mate.
No,
I don't know about Khalil Mack.
He's like,
no.
What other pieces are you going to use? What other pieces do the Bears seriously have that anybody's interested in?
This is it.
You don't sacrifice your generational fucking defensive back.
He's not You can.
He's a key core of that offense. It is a key core of that defense, I should say.
His sack
You're solving one problem, but you're creating another.
Sack numbers have declined each year he's been in Chicago.
And Trevation's starting to show his age, so
at the end of the day, he's on a massive contract. Shift that. You bring Carson Wentz in, who's on a massive contract, and becomes the new face of your franchise for the next 10 years. I mean, Carson Wentz is been in the league 4 or 5 years? 2017,
something like that. Yeah.
So it's no different. I mean, the Rams trade for Stafford.
Yeah, but the Rams are run by Stan Kroenke, who also owns Arsenal Football Club, and you go ask an Arsenal fan if they think they're run properly.
True. They got Jared Goff's been to a Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford's never won a playoff game.
He was carried by that fucking defense. And go watch that Super Bowl. Go watch that Super Bowl against Patriots, which in all 4 of my Super Bowls that I've watched is the most boring fucking game I've ever fucking watched. That was all about the fucking defense. Yes. That was all about the defense, about the Patriots cutting off fucking Jared Goff, and he's shown multiple times against the Rams this season that he can't fucking lead them back into a Super Bowl. That was all the defense of the Rams that got them there.
All I'm saying is you give up what you need to get yourself a franchise quarterback. There is nothing more important in the NFL than having a franchise quarterback. And they traded 2 draft picks to get Jared Goff. They traded 2 draft picks to get rid of Jared Goff. Yeah? That's why they've had no fucking first-round draft picks for years. Yeah. Because he was their last first round draft pick, and they traded 2 draft picks to fucking get him, and they've traded 2 to get fucking rid of him. But because they wanted Matthew Stafford, who is now their franchise quarterback for 2 years, because he'll no doubt retire. But it's having that chance. Without a franchise quarterback, you can't win the Super Bowl.
But at the same time as well, if you don't have a decent offensive line to protect that franchise quarterback, he's going to experience what Carson Wentz has experienced this season and getting absolutely battered to high heaven.
Yeah, true. But, I mean, you look, Brady's offensive line was bang average. Really, at the end of the day. And you can get away with you can hide an offensive line if you have a franchise quarterback who plays in the correct manner. Yeah, you can. Look at Josh Allen. Yeah, he's a bit of a different story because he's so athletic, but his offensive line is bang average to poor. But because he is a generational talent, because he is a true franchise quarterback, look how good he is. The Ravens need a great offensive line because they have a running back playing quarterback.
Yeah. Get no arguments from me on that.
The Saints needed a great offensive line because Drew Brees can't move. And look at what happened when he got found out that he couldn't move. He fucking fumbled for fun.
He can't throw deep balls either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting because sort of like it's around about like mid-March where sort of like anybody who's eligible to be franchise tagged or like anybody who's up for free agency, teams can start putting bids in for it. So we've got like about a month or so with like quietness, and then sort of like by the time mid-March comes around, I mean, if last season's free agency is anything to go by, it's sure to be a wild fucking ride.
Well, there's that, and there's going to be a lot of players available as well, because a lot of players are getting cut because the salary cap's gone down.
Yep. Which
it completely bucks the trend. So the salary cap was over 200 million this year, and it's projected to be around 185 million.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of contracts that people are getting rid of. So it means a lot more good veteran players will be available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the Saints have to get rid of a fucking whole side of the team.
Yeah. But to be honest, you could probably get rid of 2/3 of that salary cap with Michael Thomas.
Well, I suppose you kind of got to keep Thomas, but I can see Cam Jordan going to clear up some space, and then after that, expensively built defense, which I really like, but costs a lot of money.
So yeah, we shall see. It'll be an interesting 2021-2022 season. So, well, like I said, I'm going to give it another listen, watch. Even I've enjoyed it this year. So, good rookie season, and I think I got quite lucky getting to the playoffs.
True.
One of us. And as well, I feel I should mention because it's been lost with all sort of like the transfer talk and all that. We set up a NFL predictions league.
We did.
For the season.
No!
He's left.
Seriously, you're trying to drive the fact that it's just like, hey, Ant, guess what? Patriots are shit. Guess what? You came last. Knifing him.
Hey.
Guess what? AEW is shit too. Oh, he's back.
Hey, I will just say with regards to sort of like the prediction leagues, I knew my team was shit, which is why most of the time I fucking predicted against them. As I wasn't the one that was like put faith in my team when I probably shouldn't have done. But yeah, with regards to sort of like the predictions league, there was like 6 of us involved.
It felt like 5 at one point. I was just in a world of my own. I mean, it got to a point where I literally couldn't predict the fucking past, let alone the future. For fuck's sake. Yeah, you lot being Nostradamuses over here. Fucking hell.
And you are the reigning WrestleMania predictions champion, mate. So at least that's something.
Yeah, only because, the longest reign, because there's a pissing pandemic in the middle of it. Let's be honest, I'd have got rinsed in that last one. I couldn't tell me arse from me elbow.
Well, neither could I, because I had no fucking interest in it. But regardless, when we got to the Super Bowl and it came down to myself and Paul, which I was quite impressed with. Given that it was your debut season, but ultimately, he decided to back Paddy Mahomes against Tom Brady, and given my wealth experience, given my more experience of I just always thought it was like, yeah, it's better not to bet against Tom Brady. So yours truly came out on top.
I've been watching
the inaugural R.A.D. the inaugural R.A.D Zone predictions champion, and here's hoping that I am able to defend my crown for next season.
Absolutely. At least it's not as bad as the old wrestling prediction that I used to do. I mean, once upon a time, I did like a promotion, which shall not be mentioned. I used to run their prediction league, and you had a good, healthy following in it. At one point, we had like over 30-odd players. So I was doing marking all their predictions like it was a fucking nightmare. But I did it. It was fun. And one year, we decided, do you know what we're going to do? We're going to up the ante. We're going to make trophies. We're going to get trophies made. So if you win the league, you get a trophy, yada, 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 yada. And obviously, because I'm playing it and I'm doing it it was transparent, so we did it in the comments section, so I couldn't cheat. Everyone could see it. You could see the editing on it and everything. So I thought, right, this one year, I'd never won it. We've done this like the fourth year in a row we were doing it. I thought, right, we'll do trophies this year. And I thought, right, okay, brilliant. We'll spend money. I got it sponsored and everything. Someone else paid for the trophy. And I'm like, right, okay, right, let's do this. So we ended up doing it, and it ended up being, I think, a 2-way horse race at the end. And I ended up winning my own fucking trophy.
Did you have a big ceremony where you awarded it to yourself? That was brilliant, that.
Yeah, I just handed it
Here
to
you
a
go,
mirror.
me. Thank you, me.
Yeah.
I'd just like to thank
myself.
No, I didn't. Thankful for that. But yeah, I didn't do it. The year after, we actually did trophies as well, but I ended up walking away from it for reasons. So we still ended up paying for the trophy, and I had to pay for it out of my own pocket that time, but we still did it and I handed it over. And this time, I didn't win it. Okay, I think I finished 12th that year, so I was quite pleased about that in a weird kind of way.
Christ, was there anything to predict in the end?
There isn't now, is there? But yeah,
that's why I'm hoping with sort of this next season of the NFL Predictions League. It's I've raised sort of this query of everybody who participates, everybody chuck a tenner in or whatever, and the eventual winner of that Predictions League.
Great. No. I'm going to lose and lose 10 quid this year. Great. Great.
Well, maybe...
You know what? Just tell me who's going to win. You know what? I may as well just hold my cash out and just wait to hand it over to the winner fucking personally. Because let's be honest, fuck me. I may as well just send a tenner to all of you just to be on the fucking safe side. Fuck me, I'm going to be out of pocket. Shit me.
Get better at fucking predicting sports events then, you tool.
Oh, hang on. Let me just ring up my friend Mystic Meg and she'll fucking help me out. Oh, yeah, a nice little team of me, Mystic Meg, and Michael Fish. Fucking good at predicting stuff, aren't we? Fuck me.
Who's Michael Fish?
You don't know who Michael Fish is? He wasn't... Dude, he wasn't even alive when Michael Fish made that thing, and he knows who Michael Fish is. He said everything was going to be all right, and then there was a massive storm that killed 4 people.
Oh, right.
We're going to have a nice clear night, and it's going to be no problems. Next thing you know, trees are getting blown down.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, as I was saying, it's just sort of a bit of incentive for the next NFL Prediction League. I was just thinking of sort of everybody chipping in a tenner, and the eventual winner of next season's league would get to pick a jersey of their choice, like an NFL jersey. Because I don't think you've got one, Paul.
I have not got an NFL jersey, no.
Well, I'm just saying, there's a little bit of an incentive there to sort of
Absolutely.
Hey up.
Has he got his Saints one? Has he got his Saints one?
Oh, hang on, wait, I'm counting how many I've got. 5.
All right.
Why have you stuck them to your roof?
I got like a hang thing.
Oh,
they're all hung on a rail on my roof.
Not like a hangy thing.
They're all got a rail on my roof.
They're on me hangy thing, look.
Here's the thing, I don't tend to do sports tops normally. I did have at one point a McLaren Formula One top, and I've got a Blackpool.
I was going to say you've got the old school Blackpool top from when they were in the Premier League very briefly.
Yes, I have got that, including Premier League badges, might I add. And I've got, I think I've got a bog standard goalie top that I wear, but that's about it when you go in and play footy. But that is literally all I have sports clothing wear. Because the main sports I follow is like motorsport, and it's like, yeah, I'm not paying.
Well, football will be another one.
Yeah, Bunkle seems to have left. But...
Yeah, Bunkle seems to have left. But
he's back.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, there you go. It's always a tradition. Like either if I'm at Clan Morrison or I'm at Matt's place, we always go around to one another's house, stick NFL Red Zone on, get a takeaway in, and it's just a fucking fun time. And
that sounds good.
I feel as if you're missing out. So it might be a little bit of an incentive for next season.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have the wings and a few wings out and put on a bit of a spread for a Super Bowl / WrestleMania party next year around at our gaff. Hopefully we can have because I had when lockdown was slightly lifted, you can have the rule of 6 and what have you.
Yeah.
I had the telly outside in back, and it was quite warm. It was very nice. We have the heater anyway. It's a good gaff. It's a good gaff. Now that we've got the garden sorted.
Yeah, exactly. I can now. Well, that's another bit of news since we've not radded. Is I can now drive, so I can now take myself to places.
You've been warned, people. You've been warned.
Yes.
You don't do as you're told. We'll get Paul to mow you the fuck down.
You've got to be careful, though. I do drive a Ford car, so therefore you would do more damage to the car than I would do to you. So, So I love my little car, though. It's amazing because you sat that low to the ground in it. It feels like you're doing 5,000 miles an hour.
It's what we call kneecap height.
Yeah, it is. And the best thing about it is when I do hit you, I'm that low to the ground, you will just go over the top of the car. And it's just a giant wedge, so you just slide up it as well.
I've just got this image of just going along the promenade. I've just shut my eyes now and just seeing the nice Blackpool beach and the skyline, and just seeing silhouettes of people cartwheeling, like jumping up like that. Just going down just going all the way down the promenade, one after another, like fucking lemmings.
I was going to say it would be like Wallace and Gromit in the wrong trousers when fucking Wallace is sort of like in the actual wrong trousers themselves. He's just sort of like doing cartwheels in the air through the fucking estate.
Would be shot.
That's what I've envisioned.
You're taking the piss out of my car. Leave it alone. Only I could do that.
It's a good little runner.
It's a good car. I like it. To the point where Morrison was like, bring it to mine. I was like, no.
No. I've seen what you do to your Mondeo, and you ain't doing that to my fucking car. Fuck off.
I was in the car when he drove us to and from Manchester for the Metallica gig in 2019. Mm-hmm. I saw the speed on his Speedo. The car that he went at, my car might not reach.
Yeah.
So,
and he dared claimed in sort of like a Valentine's post that he was the better driver than his other half.
I think we need to make them race.
Yeah.
I think we need to lay that gauntlet down that the Morrison clan need to have a race to decide this once and for all.
No, because fucking Alan would do a fucking Richard Hammond. I'm not fucking risking it for him for his sake alone.
It's fine. Alan will be fine. He's a good driver, remember? He's a good driver, remember?
Well, according to him, yeah.
I think that should be the anti-speed and advert. Should be Richard Hammond trying to remember his own wedding day.
Oh, yeah. Classic Frankie Boyle.
Yeah.
I thought you were just going to say, just have Alan... I thought you were just... Oh, no. I thought you just meant to say, just have Alan stood in a black screen. Just have Alan stood there and goes... I am a good driver.
You know what? If that was going to be the advert, you know what it should be that Facebook post where he claimed he was a better driver. Just that, then it fades to black, and all you see is like a crumpled up Mondeo. That's it. And then no words, nothing, just that, and then just like think safe, whatever the fuck they're coming with now, and then stunned silence. UK government, if you're listening, I am available for advertisement ideas.
Fucking hell. What's the fantastic idea? Speaking of fantastic ideas, there's a post that's been going viral recently. And I'm starting to think this was more actually on purpose than it was like an accident. I don't know if you've heard about the woman that decided, do you know what? I need to sort my hair out, and I've run out of hairspray, and I'm just going to rummage around the house. Oh, what is this orange bottle I have found? Gorilla Glue?
Oh, God.
Why are we giving attention to stupid people?
Oh, I'm not giving a positive. Don't worry, I'll get there. It's not
just attention. That's all they want. Just attention seekers.
Well,
you're up there with vegans and fucking everything else. Like the whole TikTok thing is a whole...
change gender when they go to sleep.
Yeah.
And wake up and they suddenly speak French. Oh, fuck off. Oh, these free tips to get you a girl in 5 seconds. Oh, fuck off.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus I wish I were that fucking lucky.
It's the people, it's the attention seekers. That's all they are. And this idiot.
This is it.
She's an absolute idiot who's just an arse.
You've just shortcutted my point, sir.
You'll have to give context, Paul, because I'm a little bit in the dark about this particular.
Right, so what this lady has decided to do was think, right, I've run out of hairspray. What I'm going to do, I need something to hold my hair in place. So she literally, but she literally decided to spray a ton of Gorilla Glue into her hair and spread it all over her head to keep her head down. Now, this glue apparently was in her hair for an entire fucking month and did not shift. Right?
Fucking hell.
Now, bear in mind, right, I have like a box on the front of my house, right? A box on the front of my house, and it was hanging off constantly. It's basically where the internet connection comes from the floor. The phone line comes from the floor into the house, basically, right? I used to keep thinking it was the kids kicking it off the wall. It wasn't. It was just really bad build quality. Yay. So I decided, I tried epoxy on it and everything to get it to stay on. Wouldn't work. Gorilla Glue, on the other hand, I put it on there. It's been now stuck to the wall solid for 4 fucking years. With Gorilla Glue. And this woman...
words, sticky stuff.
Yeah, so plastic to brick wall. Right? And this woman has stuck it in her fucking hair. And you're like, oh, this looks brilliant. To be fair, it looks shiny, it looks very straight, but it's not going to fucking move, let's be honest. You know, you could go with a fucking, an F5 bleeding hurricane and it wouldn't move. Yeah. So she goes this, it gets all this attention. I can't get this glue out my hair. So her doctor's offered to do it for free. Get it all out. Do it for nothing. But then, just after that hit, someone's made a fundraiser.
Oh, no.
What?
Someone's made a fundraiser for this lady. And,
for fuck's sake.
As of reading this, as of about 4 hours ago, maybe 5 hours ago.
Don't tell me, don't. If it's anything more than £1, I'm fucking off.
Yeah, if I was you, I'd shut your door on the way out because it's $21,000 that's been made.
Fuck off!
What? Yep. I'm probably higher now.
Right, okay, it's coming out for this.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Please stop. You had your little TikTok fame. You put the silly glue. It's really funny. Yeah. But no, there's people out there who think you're fucking stupid.
Yes.
So stupid enough, they've decided to throw 21 grand at you. On a level of stupidity, it's quite high. So, if you could just take that 21 grand and give it to charity where it's going to be to put to some use, not your stupid fucking brain, who thinks it's a great idea to stick fucking super duper glue in their fucking hair.
Fucking super duper glue.
If you thought that was a good idea, I wouldn't trust you with a fucking pair of scissors, let alone 21,000 quid. Okay? I've seen 2-year-olds know the difference between that. Just stop.
Oh.
Please stop. Just live your life. I'm sure you're very happy. You're gonna be very happy. Fantastic. Great. Get the glue out of your fucking hair. Yeah. We realised that was a bad idea because apparently you had to experience that to realise.
Oh.
Be happy. Donate the 21 grand. And just try not to attention seek. Okay.
Too late.
a bit late for that.
Just stop now. People are laughing at you more than you think. You're an idiot.
And she's laughing all the way to the bank with that fucking 21 grand.
And this is precisely the problem with society. We're breeding fucking stupid, idiot celebrities.
We're rewarding stupidity.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Oh, there's a kicker to this as well, by the way. There is another kicker to this. There was a gentleman there went, this is fake. It's not real. They're not put gorilla glue in the hair.
Do it himself.
So what he decided to do to try and disprove this was, them red Solo cups that you can get that you play beer
is this the
pong
bloke
with?
that stuck to his nose?
He stuck it to his nose and chin, and he stuck it round his mouth, and it stuck, and he had to go to fucking ER for it.
Fucking penis. A fucking penis.
Can I just take a wild
fucking
stab
penis.
in the dark, to quote Blackadder, and just say, I'm guessing these people are from America?
We kind of might be.
Okay. So, America, the land of the free, home of the brave. More like the land of the stupidity.
Apparently the greatest country on earth.
They've elected Donald Trump. Nothing else needs to be said.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you, I consider Madagascar more of a country than fucking America at this minute. I mean, at least they had all them animals working together and making a society, and they all lived pretty happy to me. I mean, I know some of them left to go and live in Africa, but that's their fair. But some of them stayed. I know they had quite well. They had a system. They had King Julian, and he ruled, and it was fantastic. So
that being said, I still want to go over there and experience everything that they've got to offer.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like one of my best mates, pretty much like fiance, who like lives like sort of like Connecticut way. I've been talking for years about like wanting to go over there, and one of her like favorite pastimes is like going with her father, who is a police officer with the New York police force, and one of her favorite pastimes to do with her dad is to go to the shooting range and sort of like basically, go there and sort of like shoot at a few targets. And I sort of like made the offhand comment of just sort of like, oh, do you know what I'd love to do if I ever get over to America? I'd love to sort of like go over there and sort of like, sample what it's like to sort of like, actually go to sort of like a gun range and actually sort of like shoot a proper gun. But there's probably like too much like red tape and litigation and all this.
The whole country's a gun range.
She just went, no, not really. It's just sort of like, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm just sort of like there just going, oh, okay. Right, okay. I know what I'm added to my list when I eventually go over to America. But the thing is,
I know how to shoot a gun.
Yeah, the thing about it is, if you can go to a Walmart and buy a gun legally, as long as you're of legal age, then thinking about it, it doesn't really seem that much of a big step.
No, it's like walking to Asda, isn't it, and buying a Glock. It really is. It's literally that.
Yeah.
It's mad.
Yeah, sorry, Anthony. You were saying.
No, I've lost it. But you mentioned you just got the fiance. You mentioned about your friend's fiance or whatever, and I was just got onto the point of like because of this COVID thing and not seeing people. It's got to the point now. I mean, in the past, I've been like gone to like family reunions and cousins have come up to me. Oh, this is my son Tim. He's 5 now, and I'm like, fucking didn't even know you were pregnant. I just feel like the time traveler's wife every time I turn up now, and especially like I'm really worried about family gatherings because if we're going to have my cousins around, they've got like dietary requirements, and I fucking hate that because Braden can't eat blue. What? Braden can't. Firstly, don't name your kid Braden. Fucking hell. Secondly, blue isn't even like a natural colouring in. But the only time you ever see it in is in like water, and that's only because of the bottom of it. It baffles me beyond no. But I mean, what flavour is blue?
Bubblegum.
Bubblegum, yeah. But most, I mean, what like any food do you know that is blue?
It's not a flavouring; it's a colouring.
Yeah.
Exactly. But what foods do you know that are naturally blue?
Blueberries.
Oh, no.
Blueberries are fucking purple.
I knew that was going to happen. You said blueberries.
It's like water and like the ocean, and that has sharks in it. Right? Sharks. Right? Blue means sharks. Fucking hell.
But I relate it back to my point of just sort of like, why are we rewarding this stupidity by there being news articles about it and there being sort of like, you know, being any sort of like media attention? It reminds me of the fucking time that this like, it's like this newscast, like this talk show in sort of like Florida, or like this news anchor in Florida just basically walked off set because they were going to be talking about a piece where one of the Kardashians got like a new rabbit and had named it. And he basically walked off set just like going, I'm not taking part of this because it's not fucking news. Like, I got into this profession to talk about like proper fucking news. And he's like basically commenting, this isn't fucking news. What have they done? What have they earned to sort of like, you know, get this great big massive following? And you know, that's just the Kardashians are one little smidge of sort of like what's wrong with A, the general public, and B, modern day society.
Yeah, can't argue with that. Can't argue with that one bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's spot on. Bunkle, have you got a topic, mate?
Well, my topic is, it's about stupid people.
I'll lead you to it.
But it was my wife who actually turned me to this. Apparently,
careful now.
In an NHS hospital, they are no longer talking. Basically, breastfeeding isn't. You're not allowed to call it breastfeeding anymore, and you're not allowed to call it breast milk anymore. It is chest feeding and human milk, because if men can menstruate too, and men can feed their children.
I think I saw this. Was this it's Brighton, isn't it? Brighton and Hove Hospital.
Yeah,
sort of,
I believe it is.
Brighton and Hove, two very different towns. They sort of like go head to head. I mean, Brighton people think that Hove people are posh because Hove people decide to put their kebab down before they squat and have a piss in the
it is called
pavement.
They've described it as gender inclusive language.
But here's the thing: they're talking about, what was it? Men sort of like bleeding, giving off milk.
Men can menstruate.
Yeah, apparently. Healthy men shouldn't be able to.
I agree.
It basically looked at that scene from Family Guy where Peter tries to breastfeed Stewie and just thought, yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, you know, men want to breastfeed too. Oh, we can't call it breastfeed, it's got to be chest feed.
Chest feeding, yes.
I hope that doesn't catch on, because let's be honest, if that's the case, I'm boarding the Spanish train that Christy Burst sang about, and I'm joining God in that devil playing chess for shout out Christy Burst. It's a great song, but fucking hell, I wish I was on it at the minute.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to Brighton, and what I thought was actually a pink and purple sort of shell suit was in fact the flesh. It was no. Oh, I did that joke in Brighton. If you think I went, they think I shut their bloody businesses myself the way they did it. You know, the thing that struck me in Brighton was a spanner, which they threw at me on the way out. You know.
But this is just more the continuation of the PCing everything.
I just think it's
ridiculous. It really is.
It's ridiculous. It follows on from always the I don't know, panty liner tampon producing company, removing the feminine symbol from their logo because it's not gender inclusive.
Well, what men need fucking panty liners?
No, apparently there are men that need them and men that use them.
What?
Not real men.
The only reason a man would even contemplate possibly even in an emergency situation using a Tampax, well, not a Tampax even, a fucking Tampax is different.
I've got like this image of like a break glass in case of emergency on the wall. Dang, here we go. Fucking hell.
I'm on about a case of like if it's a situation where you've run out of toilet paper and there's nothing else to wipe on.
Yeah.
At the worst. And I mean the worst.
This is probably a thing of just sort of like, you know, people getting offended for other people's sakes, even when the problem isn't even sort of like a big one.
It's mountains out of molehills. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's an issue that nobody had, but whilst one person may have had an issue with it, they've got to change the entire system.
Nobody has ever had, and the vast majority of people don't give a flying fuck.
No. Most normal functioning people.
Yeah.
Or what was it? What's that song that's on Wrestling Soup, Lewis? Is it Normal Function Humans or something like that?
There's something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's what most people are like that. They will like, oh, it's breastfeeding. What is that? That is a boob. It is not a fucking chest. It is a boob. It's a breast where milk comes out of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a. It's not
men cannot do it.
Men naturally can't do it. It's
unnaturally, I'm kind of against it as well. If I'm going to be very honest, I don't want someone sucking on my nips randomly.
But it's a big
fucking weird. This is brought up by the same fucking idiots that will stand in front of my meat aisle in like Lidl and like protest against, oh, this chicken died when it was lonely. All right, I'll pick a fucking number. I'll take his mate with me, and then I'll cook him as well. I mean, just fucking, I don't care, right? Just stay out of what is essentially not your business.
Yeah.
If you want your man to have your baby suck on a nipple, then you do that. Go in your house, shut the door, do it yourself. Don't give it all of us because shut up.
It is the belter for you as well, if you really want to think about it, it's sort of a fucking level. If this is coming from the NHS and they say to you, you know, breast is best because it's built for your child and it's got best for your child's nutrient. It's how it's, you know, it's custom built for your child. And you're supposed to let the mother breastfeed because it's, you know, it's best things for their child.
Yeah.
How the fuck is that coming from the dad?
Well, it's fucking not, is it?
It isn't.
It's sort of a family motto in mine.
But the thing is, like, if it comes from if you like a dad breastfeeds, it's like that is not. Even if you could, like, you know, lactate, it's like it's not custom made for your baby. This is a fucking ridiculous conversation. What are we on?
We've talked about many things on this podcast, and now we're debating whether we can squirt milk from our nipples.
I'll be honest. No. We're talking about. I'll be honest with you. My background picture sort of like sums this topic up.
Exactly. It's like this sums up this whole thing absolutely perfectly. How this can be
it's the only thing that
specific.
you said. This conversation is Jim Cornette at the minute.
Listen, what I know is how the fuck can breastfeeding be gender neutral? How the fuck can it be gender neutral?
It's not gender neutral because men don't have breasts.
We can't do this. It's simple as that.
I don't know. I've seen some things in a cricket changing room. I'll tell you that for sure. Yeah.
Well, keep your eyes to the floor from this point forwards, then, mate.
I'm retired. I don't go in there anymore. I'm retired.
All right, let me put this way. Let me put this way. To quote, sort of somewhat pseudo quote, Paddy McGuinness, right? Fat Les could not breastfeed a creche. Let's just put it that way. He could not do it. It's not possible.
He could not breastfeed a crash.
It is not possible at all. You know, you do not have the equipment to do it. It is not possible.
The equipment.
You know, it's not possible.
No, it's.
Michael, let me get me equipment. I'll be right for you. Oh my god! If there's two words that don't belong in a sentence together, it's creche and equipment.
It's the creche of the future.
Oh, God.
The inclusive future.
The inclusive.
About 2 minutes after 2 minutes of. Okay, I'm done now, love.
Oh, they fucked off.
Let's get to it.
Oh god. What a fucking ridiculous topic. I mean, it's
yeah.
How stupid a chest feeding.
Just saying it just makes me feel a little bit sick.
Yeah, it sounds like what a bodybuilder would say when they're being a bit weird about building up the chest. Oh, the chest feeding.
Can you imagine if they said that on like Pumping Iron or whatever?
I'm feeding my chest.
His chest feeding, yeah.
Chest feeding sounds like a shit stripper name, really. And on the poll next, it's chest feeding.
Bunkle, it sounds like something you would fight in another podcast that you do, or chest feeder.
Yes, yeah, it does, yes.
Oh, a chest feeder. Oh, my God. Now, I've met her. She was actually quite nice.
That's a challenge. That is a challenge for you, Bunkle. You need to mention the word chest feeder to Cookson and trying to make him make a monster out of that. And if you do that, I can imagine me absolutely wetting my pants while listening to that show.
I don't want to hear the words chest and feeding ever again. I've heard him enough in the last 5 minutes to last me a lifetime, especially together. Hey.
Fucking chest feeding, Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
Oh, chest feeding just sounds so awful. I've just got the image of like a fat brummy bloke eating a curry off his chest. That's all I've got.
No. I've just worked it out. What they want you to do is to smear that curry on your chest and just let your baby suck it off. Maybe
this is taking the weirdest fucking turn.
Calling it chest feeding is fucking weird.
That's the weirdest thing that's ever fucking said. And the fact that it's not come from my mouth and someone else's is nothing short of astonishing.
The fact of the matter,
you know what? My idea was mad, getting a brummy lad just naked by himself eating a curry. But you got a baby involved, which is even fucking weird. I wasn't part of that. I didn't hint at that. You got a baby involved, pal. Fucking hell.
No, I didn't. The NHS did. The NHS did that. Bring it full fucking circle.
God almighty. Shit me sideways.
But yeah, chest feeding. It's a load of shit.
Move on to something, please, for the love of fucking God.
Yeah, I think we're nearly at 2.5 hours, so I think we're nearly time for wrapping up. But I'm going to put one more sort of like topic out there, and that is recently there was something sort of announced that I'm a massive fan of. I know Lewis sort of might be looking forward to it. I don't know really too much about you two. Mass Effect remaster.
All I can say is
Please don't fuck it up.
I'm very much interested in it, but given the fact that I've been burned quite recently in the past year by pre-ordering Watch Dogs Legion and Cyberpunk 2077, I'm going to fucking wait until reviews come out on it before I part with my money. That is all I'm going to fucking say on the topic, because I've been paid far too much by spending nearly like 90 quid on games I was really looking forward to and just being heavily disappointed.
I adore Mass Effect. I adored Mass Effect until Andromeda came out, and I didn't want to adore it anymore. However, I loved the original series, and this remaster series is exactly what they need and exactly what the fans need to sort of get everyone back on track a bit, I think.
Yeah, build confidence back up.
Yeah, they can't afford to fuck it up.
No.
Literally, they cannot afford to.
Particularly with the fact that I'm pretty sure it's confirmed that they're making a new Mass Effect game further down the line.
They are making a new Mass Effect game. This release of the remaster, I think, is a sort of like a rejog of the memory to give you in the more current consoles. Yeah. Because a lot of people may have got rid of their old ones and they can't play Mass Effect anymore unless you've got EA Play or Game Pass Ultimate. But it also, they're starting to look a little bit dated, especially Mass Effect 1. Now, what they've done, what I've obviously read up on, because I'm following it quite closely, because I absolutely adore Mass Effect like Ant does. And what apparently they're doing, they're sort of like doing textural and graphical upgrades to Mass Effect 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
The game that's getting the most work is Mass Effect 1. And what they're doing is they're making it less RPG and more towards what the other two were, while retaining the same sorts of gameplay. So, for example, all the characters will have access to all the weapons, whereas on Mass Effect 1, if you played like a biotic, you only had access to pistols and things like that. Whereas you'd be able to do your biotics and have an assault rifle, for example. The mechanics for the Mako, they've been upgraded. So it's going to be easier to do stuff with the Mako. The graphics obviously are going to be overhauled, new textures, armors, you name it. And all the DLCs be involved. Apparently over 40 different DLCs are going to be included with this. The only one that they haven't got is Pinnacle Station from Mass Effect 1 because the data was corrupt on it and they can't get it back. And if they redid it all, it would delay the game massively because it was quite a big DLC.
And one other thing that's been pointed out to me as well is that there'll be about 300% more lens flare.
Probably.
But as I say, it's just sort of like, I mean, if you look at like good examples of sort of like remasters, sort of like I'm a part-time Twitch streamer. So a lot of my streaming has gone into sort of like playing the remasters of the Yakuza games.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the moment, I'm sort of like about a quarter of the way through Yakuza 4. And the remasters for it have been sort of like really, really darn good. Like, I mean, I didn't have a chance to play the originals because all the originals were sort of like PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. And around about sort of like the time that the PlayStation 3 versions were in effect, I had an Xbox 360, so I didn't have access to them. But as I say, like the Yakuza series is sort of like one of my. It's become one of my favorite series for sort of like the story alone, and you know if they can do justice to sort of like the Mass Effect trilogy as they've been able to do for sort of like the remasters of sort of like the Yakuza games, then I'll be very much interested. But as I say, I've been burnt a little bit too much with sort of like in terms of pre-ordering games in 2020. So obviously I'm going to wait until sort of like they come out and reviews come out and obviously sort of like your guys' input before I part away with my cash.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to be getting it. From what I understand, the gameplay is unchanged pretty much. So it's going to be the same sort of gameplay experience, but just prettier sort of graphics. Mass Effect 1's going to be the one that's going to have the biggest sort of jarring difference. But if it plays anything like the last two games, it's going to be a stellar game, even so. They're still going to have the overheat mechanic in it as well. So instead of using clips, it's going to be the same sort of, you can fire for as long as you want, but then your gun's going to overheat and you're going to have to wait. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think I will be getting it. And like you say, I think they're doing it to build up to Mass Effect 4. And it's something that the fans have been crying out for is a remaster of Mass Effect. The Mass Effect trilogy, for ages and ages and ages. Almost as long as the Final Fantasy VII remasters, I would say. Or remake. My experience of remasters, I would say, is very limited. The two that spring to mind are, and this is going back, was Conker's Bad Fur Day. So I've got Live and Reloaded.
That's a game.
I've got
That's a game.
I've got Live and Reloaded on the original Xbox, and that is a game. And you've also got what else? What's the other one? Oh, that was it. Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes.
Well, it's funny. Yeah, it's funny that you bring up Metal Gear Solid because I think like the only franchise that is sort of like I would want a remaster of a game more than Mass Effect would be the Metal Gear Solid trilogy, and it's only because I haven't played any of them. Like I've played a teeny tiny little bit of the first game, but other than that, I'm a complete novice when it comes to the Metal Gear Solid game, and I really want to play them because I hear they're sort of like they're lauded upon.
They're fucking amazing. I mean, I've got every single title that's not been released on a handheld. I was quite lucky because I've got the HD remasters, on. So I do have the remasters for those as well. I'll tell you why. I've got the remasters for those on the Xbox 360, and then just before my wedding in 2019, I managed to find a collector's sort of legacy edition. Legacy Collection, which is every single Metal Gear game that was ever been made up to Metal Gear Solid 4. I got that for £1. And these are the HD remasters as well.
Jesus.
With the art book and everything for £1. I showed, and Xander came literally a couple of days before. It was just literally before the wedding, and Xander came down a couple of days later for the wedding. And he was nearly crying because his one cost like 40-50 quid. And I got it for £1 second hand, and it was mint. So it's like, yeah, I've got that. It's pride of place in the gaming area at this minute in time. But I've got all that. I've got Metal Gear Solid 4. I've got Twin Snakes and all that lot. So I've got the Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain, and I've got Metal Gear Solid 5, all that lot. And yeah, I can't praise those games enough. Little tidbit on Metal Gear Solid 4, it did have the longest cutscene in the Guinness Book of Records at one point.
Yeah, it was like 22, 23 minutes, wasn't it?
No, try 2 hours.
Oh, okay. Shows how much I'm paying attention.
It was about the ending sequence was all together, include the credits and everything all together. It was about 2 hours, but it actually recently got beaten by Death Stranding, which is funny enough, another Hideo Kojima game.
Yeah.
So
the only way that Hideo Kojima can be beaten is by himself.
Yeah. The only way you beat Hideo Kojima is by Hideo Kojima. So
pretty much.
It's one of them. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to Mass Effect, the remaster. I've already said jokingly, I'm going without food to get this game. I will save money that way to get it if I need to. But yeah, I'm going to get it as soon as I possibly can.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, it's a franchise that's near and dear to your heart. I mean, sort of like I've heard on like previous podcasts how much you love that franchise. I mean, I don't blame you. Yeah, I don't blame you for wanting to get it. In all honesty.
This is it. I mean, I used to do yearly playthroughs of Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 back to back. But when I play Mass Effect, I can't just play. I'm going to go play Mass Effect 2. I can't do it. I actually can't do it. I have to go through Mass Effect 1, play all of that, Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3. And I used to be one of these dickheads that used to go, right, I'm not playing this game because I can't get achievements. I used to be a proper achievement hoarder. Mass Effect was one of the few games that I wasn't asked about achievements. So, it's one of them. I'll play that to death. Now, like Forza now, I'll play that just for the not playing achievements. Just started, funny enough, not that long ago, a Forza 1 playthrough on the original Xbox. So, and I've noticed as well, I'm actually going back and booting up the old Xbox because it doesn't run properly on the Xbox 360. It's slightly imperfect, and I don't like it. So I've actually got broken out the old OG Xbox.
Yeah,
I'm playing it on that. So it's fun times. So, speaking of fun times, I Yeah, I've been doing stuff with my Wii as well, which is fun.
With your Wii?
My Wii, yeah, we've been playing on the Wii.
Oh, right, fucking hell.
I was starting to worry there a second.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, don't worry, I've not been pissing hot, don't worry.
No, I was going to say you're you're scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to video game technology.
Oh, no.
Next week, turds. We're talking about turds.
No. I was just saying, like I sent a picture saying I was going to touch on retro video games. We're running a bit short on time now, but I was playing Virtua Striker before, 2002. And it's like, it's like basically Virtua Striker 3. And it's one of my favourite football games of all time. It's so simple. It's literally 3 buttons and a stick. It is absolutely brilliant.
Honestly,
sounds like we need to crouch.
If you're talking about greatest football games of all time, you cannot beat International Superstar Soccer on the Nintendo 64.
Yes.
Honestly, you cannot beat that game for the scenario mode alone.
Yes, I think we've actually had this discussion, haven't we?
Yeah.
ISS 64. Yes, we have had that. Yeah. It's just thinking about that moment. Every time I think back, it's Scotland with a free kick against Czechoslovakia. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you've got the Gary McAllister lookalike stood over the ball. I can vision it perfectly.
As I say, it's a football game that I preach to this day will never be beaten.
Nope, I agree. It's just for the sheer fun factor and how many variety of ways that you can score in that game,
and the variety of ways you can get sent off in a game.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yes.
All you do. There's a game called Red Card Football, wasn't there?
Oh, but this did that better.
It was karate kick people it's brilliant. It's like you're playing with a team of Roy Keanes.
Yeah,
it's amazing to play with. I mean, you just create your enemy the other side of the team, just fucking make the life a misery, don't you?
They did that. I did that this day. Just then, while I was playing Virtua Striker, I've set up a little quick tournament against weak teams, just for shits and gigs, just because I've not played it for years. So I thought I just want to score some goals, get that good feel vibe going again. And I ended up playing a little tournament. I think I had Costa Rica in there. I was playing as England. And Costa Rica, I think it was Uzbekistan and Thailand as teams against me. So it was shooting fish in a barrel. And I was in the final against Thailand. And
that has never been said ever.
Ever, I know. But it happened.
Certainly not about fucking football.
It happened on my Nintendo Wii as of about 3 hours ago. And I was just playing normally. And next thing you know, these Thai players are just sliding into the back of my players. It's like instant red card. I'm like, okay then. 3 red cards later, and they're to the point where the system went, oh, hang on a minute. I can't keep doing this because this game hasn't been coded in with the exclusion rule. Uh-huh. So what happens is if a player's not been booked yet, they get booked, and then that is it. After that, they get waved off. And that was it.
Which was the exact opposite reaction with ISS 64, which is as soon as you go to sort of like, I don't know, it was like 6 or 7 men down, basically the match just ends up being forfeit to whoever has the least amount of men on the field.
Yeah, it automatically ends up being 3-0, doesn't it? And that's it. Yes. End of the game. It's funny that it's an ISS game that actually brings me one of my favourite memories from a game. I was playing as England again. It was it was in a tournament like a World Cup sort of thing, and I was playing Brazil. And I think I was 3-0 up at one point, and then I got 2 players sent off. And then ended up going 3-2 down. And then I conceded another penalty and then got another man sent off. So it was I think it was 8 players against their full team. And it went into extra time. And I remember winning it the last minute of extra time.
Right.
With another man sent off. Because I don't know what happened. I just got 4 players sent off. And I was I remember that being one of the most hard-fought football wins I've ever had on a video game. Mm. And it was all my own doing. But yeah, I do love myself old football games. I mean, I'm partial to playing Kevin Keegan's Player Manager on the SNES. you know.
Oh yeah, a bit of LMA Manager as well. That was quite good back in its day.
I actually have a legit copy of that upstairs.
Oh yes.
So yeah, but yeah, I've never actually played it. I've got it upstairs, but never played it. So I was more into back when I was having the back end of the PlayStation era, like PS1. I had a really crap PC, and my management game of choice was FA Premier League Football Manager, which was EA's version of Football Manager.
Oh yeah. Oh my days.
And it ended up turning into Total Club Manager.
Yeah.
And that's my go-to. I even to this day now, I still play like Total Club Manager 2005. Every so often, because you can set your own clubs up and things like that on it. It's brilliant. So, but yeah, that's retro gaming covered, I guess, as well. But yeah, it's been fun, guys. It's been what? Jesus Christ, nearly coming up to 3 hours.
Fucking hey.
Yeah.
It's amazing how quick time flies on R.A.D. Yeah, we still got it, lads. Still got it.
When we have the right topics to go to.
Exactly. We could just flow. We could absolutely flow.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think it's time for some plugs, and I think we better let our debutantes to go first.
Oh, as usual, if you've enjoyed hearing my voice as much as I enjoy hearing my own voice, you can find me on the Lost Art Podcasting and the Lost Art Wrestling, but also the Gunpowder Treason No Plot Podcast, which is available on all good podcast providers, and you can follow me on Twitter at RogarGTMP.
There you go. And yes, I was doing the cat dance because I love hearing that every single time. But yeah, Lewis, go ahead.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, on Twitch, because I've mentioned sort of like at some point during this podcast that I'm a part-time Twitch streamer.
Yeah,
and you can also... I will. I say that because like every single sort of like incarnation of me, like on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, is basically under the same handle. It's basically if you search Loggers109 on just about like any of those free platforms, you're bound to find me. It's also very specific that you follow my YouTube channel because we're recording this on a Friday, but this coming Sunday on the 14th of February, I'm starting up a new podcast myself.
Oh, nice.
It's basically I'm part of this. I'm part of a great big massive gaming community called the Gamers Lair community, and like a couple of my mates are sort of like the founding fathers, mothers of sort of like this great big massive gaming community. And we very recently started up making podcasts of our own, sort of like the moderators and the creators of like this Discord group. Of sort of like, it's been behind the scenes of like creating separate podcasts here and there. So this Sunday, specifically on my YouTube channel, so if you make sure that you subscribe to Loggers109 on YouTube, this coming Sunday, myself and another member of my gaming community, we're going to be starting up a podcast basically entirely devoted to sort of like Star Wars.
Ah, fair play.
So if you're a Star Wars fan or sort of like someone who's passionate about Star Wars, it's worth subscribing to that because we'll be doing an introduction sort of like podcast, and then we'll just be diverting into like loads of stuff because there's loads of material to cover when it comes to movies, TV shows, and also games as well. So it's worth following there as well. Also, if you're an avid gamer or you see yourself as being part of a gaming community, make sure that you're a member of the Gamers Lair Discord. Basically, we're sort of like hovering over sort of like the 400 mark. And when we get to 500 members on the Discord group, there's basically like a great big massive giveaway, whether it be sort of like for PlayStation or Xbox. So it's worth becoming a member if you're looking at sort of like branching out into sort of like great big massive gaming community. And yeah, just make sure that you're following everything Loggers109 on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter.
Awesomes. Oh, we'll have to get on to that. Anne, have you got anything you want to plug?
No.
No.
Yes, you do. Come on.
Okay. Follow my TikTok at The Annoying Husband. It's basically me just doing stupid shit and annoying my wife, which is, as the lads know, is hilarious. Also, there is a fund for my wife, which if you want to donate to that,
for your wife.
Fund. If you want to donate to that, no, I'm joking.
Although she get glue in her hair?
It wouldn't surprise me if people did start to like create a fund for her at this point, because God help that woman. I am the most irritating arsehole on the face of the earth. I mean, her parents just wish I'd murder her so they could grieve properly. You know what I mean? It's that sort of fucking hell. But
I can tell you're a Frankie Boyle fan. I really can tell you're a Frankie Boyle
great.
fan.
All my jokes are my own. Fuck off. This is the only original shit I do is on that TikTok where I'm actually generally, I believe I'm quite funny. And that's sort of the problem. I think I'm very funny. I can only apologise to you, everyone listening, my wife, my mum, my sister. I love how this plugging thing's turned into more of an apology. Yeah, just follow me TikTok. Don't follow me Instagram because I'm not likely to.
Wasn't it?
Don't follow me on Facebook because I just share shit. And I'm not on Twitter. I don't believe in it. I think it's wrong. It's dirty. It's filthy. That's about it for me. I think. Yeah, I'm done. Don't come to my house.
Awesome. On that note, you can follow us on Twitter at UK R.A.D Podcast. We're on Facebook. We had a Facebook page. There's not much on there at the minute, but, with this, there might be soon. You can find us on all the good podcast catchers out there, on Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, Apple Music, you name it, we're on there. We've got YouTube as well. And, occasionally you can find me as Steve on Gunpowder, Treason, No Plot. Obviously, you can find them, like Bunkle said, at Treason No. And, that's pretty much it, lads.
Everyone does such nice, cool things, and there's me like, go and follow me TikTok. It's really depressing.
On the plus side, you're the only one with a TikTok, so that's cool. Yeah, that's your thing.
You're ahead of the trend.
No, it's not. Don't you dare lie to me. Don't you dare. You will tell me Cam Newton's a decent quarterback next. Fuck off. Don't lie. Don't patronise. I know when I'm being patronised, and I do not like it. Yeah.
Oh God! On that, I'm going to say, I thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure as always, and we'll do this again very, very, very soon.
Yeah.
But I've been allegedly sexy, definitely stupid, definitely stupid.
I've been stowing away. Shh. Be quiet. They'll find me.
What are these outros?
We didn't warn these people, did we? We have our sort of calling.
Yeah, we have very specific outros when we're.
I mean, allegedly sexy. I don't want the word allegedly next to sexy. That's awful.
You know what?
You're hiding children in a wardrobe's not helping.
You know what? Given your reaction, it just sort of like pays dividends to know that you don't listen to the fucking Phoenix pod.
Oh!
Otherwise, you would have seen this coming.
In my defence, I don't find Peter Kay very funny.
I've been the irritating husband.
Oh, hang on, what's that? Bunkle's connection's just gone. Ding, 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 ding.
Drops quicker than Katie Price in a men's toilet. Right.
Oh, God.
I'm not that I've been the irritating husband, the real knockdowns aren't dark.
And I have been James D. Bunkell.
Yep. And one last bit of advice. Don't get glue in your hair. Thank you for listening.
Fucking morons.
Good night. My hole.